keeps ticking, empires on fire. Can't sit quiet while the world's on edge. Lines in the sand, standing on the ledge. No script, no leash, no polished choir. Just a voice in the dark and a spark to the wire. Clock keeps ticking, and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. Everybody's selling truth like a brand, buying opinions they don't understand. Talking in circles, screaming online. Keyboard courage, borrowed spines. Yeah, power plays dressed up as peace. Same old wolves with different teeth. But silence is loud when the house is burning. And the fuse is short, yeah, it's still learning. I don't dance for the left or the right. I stand in the heat, I stand in the fight. No strings, no chains, no manufactured choir. Just gasoline thoughts and an open lighter. This is and I'll bring the fire. Gonna light it higher. No filter, no fear, I say it raw. Strike the match, let it burn through the fog. This is and I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. The world's on tilt, pressure climbing. Truth don't whisper, it's perfect timing. You can't cancel the smoke, you can't stop flame. Say my name when it hits, say my name. Why? Say my name. Say my fire don't ask permission. Fire don't need a side. Fire just shows up honest and exposes the lie. This is and I'll bring the fire. Truth is harder. Burn it down till what's real survives. No smoke, no mirrors, just heat and lies. And I'll bring the fire. And I'll bring the fire. American fire. Strike it. Let it speak.
What's up, guys? Happy Hump Day. Wednesday, it is here. We are doing it. We are moving forward. Things are going well, my friends. After the toughness of the last 2 days, fighting through the fog of war, the Supreme Court major disappointments, it is bright and beautiful and clear-eyed today. We can look through it now with a little more space behind us and see what's really happening. And I got to tell you what, man, the Trump administration is shockingly on top of everything. We are going to break it down today, how the Trump administration is already moving to fix the birthright citizenship issue. And I mean, it pretty much tells you they're ready for this. We're going to look at the Supreme Court, especially Amy Coney Barrett, and what her ties, which are a little scarier than many of us knew. Some knew, some didn't. But this goes way back, much further than many knew. It's not a recent change. So we're going to expose her. Then there was elections in Colorado last night. Guess what? The communists won again. They are spreading like a disease through the Democratic Party. The Democrats continue to panic. The panic is rising, and there's already shifts in the polling. It's not good for the midterms for the Democrats, and it's only going to get worse based on what we're seeing. We're going to break that down, and the commies might be killing any chance the Democrats have of getting back in power. We're going to go over the justice that is happening in America, what Trump is accomplishing that no one's talking about. It is hitting from every angle. And then we're going to break down Kevin Warsh's new transition, the economic transition led by Kevin Warsh, President Trump, and Scott Bessent that is heading us into a much better economy for our future, one that none of us have gotten to live under before. That, we have updates on that. And then, of course, you guys better believe it, we got a grifter report today because Candace Owens went on Sean Ryan, and it did not disappoint for those of us who like to laugh at the insanity. So buckle up. We have a loaded show today, and I hope you guys are ready for it. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Before we get started, let me do some shout outs to the peeps in the Chizette. Pixel Snap over on Rumble says sounding better. Yeah, I'm almost there. I think my voice is like 85%. I just need that last 15%. What's up, Sheath and Blue Peahen over there on Rumble? Good to see you guys. Thanks for holding it down over there. On YouTube, we got Christina Numero Uno today, Gen X Maga, Rooster Alice, Henry Perez, Carnivore for Life, Scott Volkovich, my bad, Michael Boyle, Ellie D. Ellie, it's been a bit. How are you? Francis Riley, Miss Titan Fan, Foundation Preacher, Lisa Doxy, Marco Sanchez, Fart Detonator. I'm never not going to laugh at that because I'm a child. Jay Tyrus, Toe Cramp, Star Child, Jesus Saves, Rafe, Wago Waco, KT for you today, Bobby Girl, Donna M, Sebastian Chose, Pat M. Let's see, who else? The One, what a do, J-Dog, Rum Dog, J-Dog and Rum Dog back to back, Mick, Mr. Ekdal Sol, Alice Fordham, Kika, Ray Sandoval, Funny Guy, Magon On, Doc No, New Mom, Katie Katz in the house, Ryan Lynn, and many others. Sorry I can't get to all you guys. This is too many, but it's okay. I like it that way. But, you know, you get in early and you get the call out. That's how we're going to do it. The light is shining brightly on my face. Kind of just said, unfortunately, I cannot right now. I'm sorry. I will have to. I don't know why it's brighter today than usual. I don't. But don't worry. You guys won't be seeing much of my face soon as I go into the show, the news details as my screen. I will get smaller. The information will get bigger. And my face won't be as big of a distraction. I'm sorry. Sorry, my bright face is too revealing for you guys. Katie Cat with a $2 super chat says, hit that like and subscribe. Thank you, Katie. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I did see a couple things I wanted to call out real quick before we go. No black pilling. That's right, Marco. We don't black pill on this chat. By the way, all the chat rules, most of you guys know them, but if you're new, please join the chat. It's the greatest community on YouTube, bar none. And the reason why is because we kick the trolls out. So you're welcome in the chat. Anything's welcome. Questions, comments, even disagreements, as long as you're respectful and not dishonorable. Otherwise, we do kick out the dicks. Yes, no dicks allowed. I know how that sounds, and that's why I said it. It's funny, but it's true. We kick them out. We're not going to abide by it. If you're disrespectful, if you're a jerk, if you just come in here trying to bash everybody, you will be on your way out, and you will not be speaking in my chat. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The mods are watching, including my DEI mod, Shogun, who's always watching while he's doing numbers in his head with AI. Jeff Flann is blackpilling already. He says, we're so F. The Supreme Court destroyed any chance of turning the country around. You are 100% wrong, sir. But it's okay. As long as you're just being emotional, process it, and then let's get back to it. The fight never ends. The fight never ends. You think the founders had it easy when they had to go against the greatest empire in world history with a fledgling band of brothers? No, they didn't have it easy, and they won. We're going to win too. In fact, we're going to win a lot. Lafitra says this is my 9th time getting kicked. Better watch yourself, boy. You better watch yourself. Threads of Hera, what's going on? Dave says, never blackpill, Trump always wins. You know, it's the American people that always win if we don't give up. We have fought so many things over our history, our 250th anniversary, 250 years of overcoming the odds, becoming the greatest nation on earth. And yes, Trump is the latest iteration of that. We are going to keep the winning. Trump has taught us how to win again. and we are grateful to him for that. Schuber says, "You're my beloved brother in Christ. I can sense the softness of your heart, spirit." Well, thank you, Schuber. I appreciate that very much so. I do love Jesus, so do not be angry if this is a place where faith offends you. It's not for you, because I'm very open about it. You changed it to make me laugh whenever. Well, fart, it worked. Fact Heretic says, hopefully after he deals with London, he'll deal with Israel. Well, they're one and the same, my friends. That's what you need to understand. Israel is not on its own. The bad faction of Israel, the problem child aspect of Israel is City of London. And so by dealing with London, he'll deal with all of it, at least with the globalists. Not that we'll be perfect, not that we'll have a perfect world. There's no such thing until Jesus returns. However, we can make it better and we can win. Alrighty. Anything else? Nope. Okay. Let me take a sip of this. Dan says gas still $3.90. Patience, brother. It's already about $1 lower than it was last month. It's only going to keep going down. And, hang in there. Trump's gotten it down twice. 3 times if you count the war. His first term, way down. Second term, first year, way down. And he'll do it again. And there's no reason to doubt him because he's already done it. And now he's on the 3rd time. So if you doubt Trump getting the gas down, you're just not paying attention at this point. And I'm sorry, but that's the facts. Okay. I had something I was going to talk about before we get started, and it has now left my mind. 207 in Lower Texas. My God, that's amazing. Good job, Texas. Texas is the bestest, as they say over there. Not necessarily. Texas is amazing, though. All right, guys. You ready to get into it? You care. You not keep coming. I'm always coming back. That's right. I do care. I care very much so. Okay. Let's get into it, shall we? We got to talk. Let's have a talk. So, again, if you guys don't know how this show goes, if you're new here, I did get quite a few new subscribers over the last couple days because of a couple of my videos did well. Just letting you guys know, I do stop in between my segments. I do segment, I stop, I read the chat as much as I can. So please tag me if you want to get my attention, because it's almost impossible to find it if I'm not tagged, because the chat is getting wilder and wilder, and that's great. I want that. I want you guys talking. I love it. It's this is a community, so please get in the chat, have your discussions. But it's very hard to see it if it's not tagged. And the next thing is, if I still can't find it because it does cut off the later ones, you can support the channel with a super chat. And a super chat will always be guaranteed to be read, questions answered, so on and so forth. Yes, even if you're offensive, I'll do my best to read it however I can get through it. Because, you're supporting the channel. This is a fully viewer-supported channel, other than the few cents that YouTube tosses my way for every ad that plays. And yeah, so supporting the channel is a way to do it. All right. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, guys, are you ready to get into it? Yesterday, Supreme Court scared a lot of people. Got a lot of blackpilling yesterday because the Supreme Court decided to uphold birthright citizenship the way we've been doing it for the last 100 years, which is ridiculous. It makes no sense that somebody can come over here, cross the line, pop out a baby, and that baby's a citizen with no investment in the nation, no ties to it, no allegiance to our values and our way of life. But that's the way we've been doing it. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, keep on doing it that way. No big problem. And people are blackpilling. Problem is that it didn't change anything. It just didn't fix it. And I understand a lot of people are upset about that. But stop acting as if things have changed for the worse, because they have not. They are still the status quo. And the best news is that they are going to change for the better, because awareness and exposure always leads to change. Now the nation is more aware of it than ever before. More people want it changed than ever before. And we have a administration doing more to fix it than ever before. right away yesterday after this ruling from the Supreme Court, the Department of Justice put out a memorandum for DOJ employees on prosecution of fraudulent birth tourism schemes from Assistant Attorney General Colin McDonald. And right here we have, not only are they going to investigate and hold accountable those who engage in unlawful conduct as well as those who solicit and sell criminal services to others, I'm directing all U.S. attorneys and criminal division to work with the Department of Homeland Security to prioritize the investigation and prosecution of birth tourism schemes. While many of these cases are prosecuted as visa fraud, under 18 U.S.C. 1546, prosecutors should consider whether other federal statutes are violated, including but not limited to wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering, unlawful use of means of identification, aggravated identity theft, and conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud. My friends, this simply was not a thing before. No administration went after this. Bush didn't, Obama didn't, Clinton didn't, Reagan didn't. We have not seen this before. This is enforcement. So even though the Supreme Court whiffed, or they purposely did it, even though they did that, I'm telling you right now, birthright citizenship in this country is going to be much more limited than it has been in the past under the Trump administration and going forth, I believe, under the Vance, Rubio, or DeSantis administration, whoever we get next. This is just the beginning. It is not the end, and it is not the egregious, terrifying end of America ruling that so many have been saying it was. President Trump plans an assault on birth tourism after letdown at SCOTUS. This is from Carolyn Levitt, posted this morning. Daily Wire. President Trump is going all in, getting rid of birth tourism while already getting rid of illegal immigrants at the fastest rate ever. See, guys, this can be enforced. This is something that we can limit. This is something that, even though it's legal, the ways to do it are not. Birth tourism and illegal immigration, that's not legal. Now, it doesn't mean some are going to slip through. Absolutely. There's still going to be an issue. However, if we're going from 250,000 a year that are currently happening, that was happening under Biden and under the first couple of years of Trump and under Clinton and under Obama and under going back, if we go from 250, 300,000 a year being born here, just becoming citizens because of this egregious stupidity of birthright citizenship, and now it goes down to, say, 50,000 a year, 75,000 a year, that is a win in the right direction. Guys, we can continue to limit it enough where it's not a major deal until we can fully fix it, which I do believe is possible. Here's Stephen Miller breaking down some of the ways they're looking at fixing this.
You have to now think very carefully about who you let into your country, even on a temporary basis, because the possibility, as you said, for birth tourism, right? The idea that people come here just to have babies on American soil, and that baby gets to be a citizen for life. So you have mothers that come in fully pregnant, have a baby, go home, and again, that baby gets Medicaid, and that baby gets welfare, and that baby gets cash assistance, and can send, leave the baby with, a cousin, a relative, whatever, and then just send welfare checks back home. You can support a whole family in the third world. So yes, you can't have the kinds of immigration programs other countries have when you can just have a baby here, and now that child is an American citizen. So there's a lot of things we're going to have to take a hard look at, Jesse. Yeah, you have to now think.
There it is. They're talking about solutions. What did I tell you guys the other day? Listen, if you're going to worry, if you're going to black pill, you're not helping anything. Every problem has a solution. And thank God that President Trump understands this and doesn't back away from hard things. Now, why did we get these rulings? Why does Amy Coney Barrett and John Roberts ditch us on some of the most important things, especially regarding the future of our country? Now, it's not like we haven't gotten good rulings. This Supreme Court has been about 90 to 95% awesome. They overturned Roe v. Wade. They overturned the Chevron doctrine. They've upheld 2A. We just got the trans ruling, which was very good. They've given Trump a lot of leeway and executive power. They've rolled back the bureaucracy. They've given Trump a lot of power over that. It hasn't been all bad. But in some of the biggest cases, it has been. Tariffs, mail-in ballots, birthright citizenship, they flipped. Very strange. As people who, in Roberts, it goes back even further. He upheld Obamacare. He voted for gay marriage. Stuff like that. Very shocking defections. Why does this happen? Well, it turns out Amy Coney Barrett might not be who she said she is. Here is Mike Davis breaking down a little bit of background on how Amy became a SCOTUS judge and what she said in their interviews versus what she's doing now.
She's bad on the two questions that actually matter for the sovereignty and the continuation of Western civilization, which is immigration and then the powers to enforce immigration. She's bad on those. She's atrocious on those. And so this seems like a massive blind spot in the people that were supporting Amy Coney Barrett. How do you feel today?
I think it was the biggest mistake imaginable supporting Amy Coney Barrett. I think she is a disaster for the Supreme Court. She is, as I've said, a rattled law professor with her head up her ass, and she thinks that she is the smartest person in the room, and she's not. She's the junior varsity justice, and she thinks that she's grading law school exams instead of exercising sound judgment. We know why the Chief Justice does what he does. This is all about a vanity project for him. It's about his image. He's very chiefy, and he put his vanity today over our sovereignty, and it is unacceptable. It is inexcusable. We'll never come back from this as a country. And so here's the solution going forward: is we need to. There is no excuse now from Senate Republicans. They must pass the Save America Act. And there's no excuse from Mark Wayne Mullen or anyone else in the Trump administration. We need to mass deport every illegal alien, not just the violent criminals, all of them, and especially the birthing age women.
He's 100% right about that. He goes on to say how she may have lied in her interviews.
And put him on the court if they could. Yeah, you and I both know that. So, why are we so stupid, Mike? Why are we so weak? Why are we so dumb? Well, and you were part of this decision, and I love you as a friend, but you saw it from the inside. So can you tell, was she lying?
Good for Benny for calling him out for this, because Mike Davis was part of the people, one of the persons who chose Amy Coney Barrett to bring to Trump to say, here is a conservative justice who's going to be like Scalia for 30 years and is going to be a solid conservative vote for you. And that's one of the reasons Trump selected her. Here's what Mike has to say to it. Good for Benny for calling him out on it.
Yes. Were we going too fast? Were we going too fast? Like, what was this?
No, Ben, she lied. She auditioned as a constitutionalist. She auditioned as the next Justice Scalia for whom she clerked. She auditioned as this conservative constitutionalist law professor. That's how she auditioned. It was a fraud. She is a fraud. She lied through the process. Or it could be one of two things. She lied in her audition when she sold herself as a constitutionalist, and so did her people. All of her former clerks and everyone else sold her as a constitutionalist to me and many others. And I'll call them out by name at some point. Or she got rattled on the bench when they showed up at her house with her kids. She got scared, she got rattled, and she pivoted. She went into, I'm going to be a mother and be a mother hen and protect my kids and do what the left wants because I don't want them to come to my house and kill my family. Who knows?
Regardless if Mike's telling the truth or not, he's clearly backtracking. He's clearly embarrassed for the fact that they chose this woman. But I got to tell you, they should have done their work, because now we're starting to see people are putting together the background of Amy Coney Barrett, which should have been the tell. Amy Coney Barrett worked on George Bush's 2000 legal team. Oh, she's a establishment Republican. As a young attorney, she assisted during the Florida 2000 recount. On the night of Ginsburg's death, Mitch McConnell called Trump to say, you have to nominate Barrett. It makes me wonder, because Trump has never liked McConnell. Is Davis one of the reasons that she got pushed through that finally convinced Trump? What have I told you? Number 2, John Thune was a key supporter in getting her confirmed. Why is it so important for them to squeeze her in 8 days before the election? What have I told you? She got a $2 million book deal in 2021. Her literary agents were Javelin. Javelin was founded by former Bush speechwriter Matt Latimer and Keith Urban, who is Don Rumsfeld's chief of staff. Wow, she has a lot of connections to the establishment wing, doesn't she? Very interesting. The establishment wing being the controlled opposition wing of the Republican Party. The City of London controlled aspect of the Republican Party. Her dad was attorney for Shell Oil. Who else did offshore drilling in those days? Bush's Zapata and Cheney's Halliburton. Interesting. Amy Coney Barrett did an event for her book, George Bush's Presidential Center, last month. Bush in attendance, and she admits she met and spoke with Bush. Bush, who's been hanging out with Obama, Biden, Clinton the last several years, very openly against Trump. You can't make this stuff up, folks. Thune was selected and endorsed by Bush and Cheney personally with events and fundraisers. By the way, the Thune becoming leader, that Trump tried to get Rick Scott through, just so everybody knows. It was between Thune, Cornyn, and Rick Scott. Cornyn is now gone because he's not going to be senator again starting next year. Thune, it makes all the sense in the world why he won't get stuff done. This man is basically McConnell all over again. He happened to succeed Mitch McConnell. Number 2 vote, John Cornyn. Does anybody think all these Thune, Bush, Cheney connections, obstacles to Trump regarding fulfilling the MAGA agenda we voted for are coincidence? Who's really leading the GOP? The original GOP. Well, we know, but thank God MAGA's taken it over. Here's Thune with Amy Coney Barrett. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And then you look at the book deal. Financial disclosure reports released Monday show 4 Supreme Court justices combined earned over $2 million in book payments in 2025. Let's look at who made money from book deals. Ketanji Brown Jackson. Justice Sotomayor got $88,000. Ketanji Brown Jackson over $1 million. Coney Barrett almost $1 million just from this last year, not including her original advance. You guys know that the book deals are one of the main ways they launder money to these people? Yep. Makes a lot of sense, right? As this old Q-Poo said, book deals can be lucrative. Yeah, that's how they buy them off, folks. And the whole publishing industry is a sham. It really is. But again, this is why they turn. They're all co-opted. You don't see Clarence Thomas on here. You don't see Alito on here. That's not who they're hooking up. The establishment Republican wing works just the same as the Democrats because they are the same people. They're the same system. They're just controlled opposition to create the illusion of choice, which is why they all think and hate Trump, because Trump is the actual first choice we've had in our nation in quite a while, which changed everything, shifted it all. But there's hope, guys. As I reported yesterday, Trump put this out yesterday, and MJ Truth highlights this to kind of focus what Trump's focusing on. We can easily make it up in Congress through legislation. That's now been determined through this process. Congress should start today, work on ending expensive and unfair to our country birthright citizenship. I'm not saying Congress is going to do it. We all know that. The GOP Senate is still mostly establishment wing. It's not going to happen, but it can. And we are reforming the Senate to be more MAGA. J.D. Vance gives us a little insight.
we're going to have to do is just continue to enforce the border, Laura. This was a very disappointing ruling from the Supreme Court. Of course, we respect it, but we also think that it was a major, major mistake. As Justices Alito and Thomas pointed out, one of the things that might invite, Laura, is people to come here quite literally on a vacation, give birth, and then all of a sudden the child and their family have the full benefits of American citizenship. It's just a preposterous ruling, and the absurdity of that outcome suggests why the Supreme Court should have went the other way. Now, I know a lot of conservatives, Laura, certainly the people that I'm talking to, that you're talking to, are extremely disappointed in this. I do actually think there's a really big silver lining here, and that's the simple fact that a lot of legal experts expected this case to go the wrong direction by 7-2 or even 8-1. The fact that this case was a 5-4 decision effectively means that the concept of birthright citizenship, which is an absurdity to the 14th Amendment, that concept is hanging by a thread. And so what I take from that is, yes, we've got to fix the immigration system even more. We have to be even more aware of who's coming into our country to make sure that they're not benefiting from this atrocious Supreme Court ruling. But it also means that we have to keep fighting, Laura, because we actually have an opportunity to reverse this decision, just as we've reversed so many bad decisions throughout the generations.
Roger Severino, Mr. Vice President, argues that
He's absolutely right, and this is the way to think about it. JD said something very important right there, and it's echoed by people like Jesse Kelly, who get it. You see, it was supposed to be a much stronger ruling, but instead it was 5-4, which means the crack is already there. The crack in the whole birthright citizenship issue is already there. The crack that will expose it, break it, and change it. As Jesse Kelly writes, we're going to win this birthright citizenship issue. We're just not going to win quite yet. America First movement is not complete. It's not even halfway. It's in its infancy. I agree with Jesse so much right here, and I say it all the time. This is only the beginning, folks. We're only in the beginning of MAGA, of this movement. The demographics prove it going forward. The shift in culture proves it going forward. We're not at the end. We're not even in the middle. We're not even mature yet. Trump just birthed this movement. And it's true we were here before, but Trump turned it into something. He galvanized us. He unified us. He gave us the leadership we needed to get it moving. But it's at the beginning. And sometimes we can't win everything at once. Process is still a thing. But just like Roe v. Wade, so many other things in history that started out wrong, it took a while to beat them when we beat them. So the things we all want now will come to pass over time. Stay involved and keep working 100%. And this is from Theo Wald, who helped write the executive order. He says, there is a white pill from the Supreme Court's ruling on birthright citizenship. When I worked in the 45 White House, I drafted Trump's original birthright citizenship order. At the time, I was laughed out of rooms by senior legal officials at the White House who told me I want to get a single vote at the Supreme Court. Today, there were 4 votes at Supreme Court for the right reading of the 14th Amendment. The fight to restore American citizenship and retake our nation begins in earnest today.
Fair.
I will say there is a white pill here, which is, look, when I first drafted this executive order back in 45, I was laughed out of many rooms, even in the White House. Senior legal officials said you wouldn't get a single vote at the Supreme Court to support your reading of the 14th Amendment, Theo. There are 3, arguably how you categorize Kavanaugh. There are 4 votes for the right reading of the 14th Amendment. The other white pill here is now more Americans than ever, not just eggheads like me, more Americans than ever know how serious this problem is, that we have millions of refugees, false asylum claimants, illegal aliens, birth tourists coming into this country and depriving the nation of the rights that actually belong to U.S. citizens. So that's the white pill. And look, it's a massive disappointment, a massive defeat. But going forward, the fight to preserve American citizenship begins today.
Fair.
Boom. He's absolutely right. Guys, sometimes the win is just beginning something. It's sometimes the beginning of the journey, the first step of the journey. When you set out on a destination with an endpoint in mind, whatever that is, building a successful business, taking a hike to Half Dome, whatever it is, when you take that first step, that's the beginning of the win. If you got everything in order, and then the momentum comes, you start building. This is what happened with birthright citizenship. What we found out, what the Supreme Court just told us, is that we're not there yet. But it certainly did not tell us that we're at the end of anything. No, friends, this is the beginning of this movement. This is the beginning of the awareness. The American people will reject this. It's only a matter of time, just like we've rejected so many other things. So do not doom, do not black pill. Put your head down, sack up, get to work. And in the meantime, we can trust the Trump administration is going to make sure this is limited so we survive until the point where we can get rid of it fully. That, my friends, is where we're at today, and that's why nobody should be panicking. We're going to win this. There's a lot of good that's coming out of this. All right. Hit that like and subscribe, guys. Appreciate you for watching today. I have so much more to get into. This is just the beginning. I got to laugh at something real quick because, yesterday I had somebody on here after we said Tim Pool was blackpilling over all this. They were vehemently defending Tim Pool. And I got to tell you guys that this is the reason Tim gets crapped on. Here is Tim's show from last night. SCOTUS ruling is the end of the U.S. Guys, that is the very definition of blackpilling. So sorry, I love a lot of what Tim does, but to say he's not blackpilling over this is just hilarious to me. But well, hopefully he gets to the point where he can see the the progress instead of the temporary setback. So funny. This is why I show you guys, I pull stuff up on screen. I don't just throw stuff out there. I always have a reason. That's how I bring the receipts. Okay. Let me check out and see if anybody tagged me on anything real quick. Threads of Harris says, I introduced legislation yesterday immediately. Rand Paul had it ready to go. Well, that's good. See, all they have to do, all the Senate has to do is change the definition of what what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Jurisdiction, the U.S. jurisdiction over people is, and then that completely changes the whole 14th Amendment. So it's like, don't worry. DJ Fusion, people not full from wins yet. They can't get all the wins in the first 2 years. That's right. We got to spread them out. No, I mean, I'm like everybody else. I want them all. Give me them all right now. Been waiting for all these wins most of my life. We want the wins now. I get it. I absolutely get it. But being impatient, looking for, a win based on your emotions and your impatience, it does not give you the excuse to blackpill when it doesn't happen. It's like we all forgot that stuff takes work. Trump's amazing, but he's not God. He can't just come in and snap his fingers and everything works. No, you got to realize what he's up against. He's up against corruption everywhere, at every level of government. Every level of institution in our country is rife with fraud, rife with corruption, just full of it. And he's against deep state embedded systems, City of London systems everywhere, communist systems everywhere, all against him. Now the people are on his side, which is why we keep winning, but it doesn't mean we'll win every battle. However, we are winning the war, and that's what matters. Every great general knows you're not going to win every battle in a war, but you win the ones that matter the most. And when you lose, you find the silver linings. What did you learn? And that's how you keep winning, and honestly, like, this is nothing compared to some of the stuff we've been through. And so I just can't take the freakouts. I really can't. I just don't understand it. I feel like people got to this point. They fought so hard to get to 2024. Think about how blackpilled people were after 2020 with that election. And then we won. in 2024 when nobody thought that was possible. Everybody thought we were done for good. But that's not how it works. You have to fight. And Trump came back, and he came back better. You know, I mean, I don't know what to tell people who've forgotten what a fight means. And sorry, I'm fixing something real quick. Yeah, I just don't know what to tell people who've forgotten what it means to like have to persevere. That's crazy to me. I just don't understand. Like, we've been in so much worse places, like insanely worse places. Okay, Sooner says, can you only imagine how Trump and the rest of us feel when these babies are eligible now for Trump savings accounts or future president? I mean, it's crazy. I know, but it is what it is. Rand Paul wants to go the amendment route. Yeah, that won't happen. So, of course, I just got to say, that is the ultimate Rand Paul move. That's the ultimate Rand Paul move. That's like the Thomas Massie move. This is a whole libertarian thing. Well, here's the solution, but they're going to come up with the right solution and the wrong way of accomplishing it, so it's impossible to pull off. Yeah, and then they can always just complain that like nobody gets anything done. This place is terrible. That's the total libertarian playbook. Just let's act like we actually want to do something, but unless it's perfect, we won't do it. And so they set themselves up for failure on purpose. And I feel like this is just more and more clear. Wait till I get to the Grifter Report today, and I'll show you guys more of the libertarian playbook. Oh, man. Kika asks, do I think the city of London is putting pressure on the Democratic Party to allow the communist side of the party to engulf as a way to beat MAGA and take it from the inside? No, I don't. I think what's happening with, and we're going to talk about this a lot, especially in the next segment, what I think is happening with this whole communist takeover of the Democratic Party. See, the Democratic establishment, that's who is controlled by City of London, okay? They have the ties, they get the money, they run the place. And it's because, you know, they know that the people don't accept extremes in America. We want just freedom, we want a smaller government, ultimately we want the government out of our lives. That's the vast majority of Americans, okay? So they know that the communist takeover is a big problem. But at the same time, they want to institute that system because that will get them in power. It'll allow this central government to take over all of our lives. So communism is the City of London system ultimately. So they want that. However, they're not supposed to come out and say it. They're not supposed to do it in front of you. I think what's happening right now is as the City of London, as their people have lost more and more control, as Trump has been beating them back, they're also losing control over their own party. And the crazies that they've been useful idiots for them are now starting to run the asylum, and they're freaking out about it. And that's how I see it playing out. The other option that some people think is that this is their choice. I disagree with that. Because these people have been running elections, taking over countries for years. They know how to do it. And this is not how you do it. Not in America. This is very, very bad for them in the midterms and in future elections. They don't want this. This is why they stole the nomination from Bernie Sanders twice. This is why they keep AOC away from having a lot of power. They purposely do that. They want the Nancy Pelosi's, the Chuck Schumers, who come across and know how to speak the moderate game and then slit your throat while you're sleeping. That's what they want. The commie takeover is not their plan. I don't believe that at all. I believe they're losing control. And that's how I see it. So, $20 super chat from Kevin. What's up, man? He says, I never get what I want. The black pill is so 12 years old. Brother, listen, it's not about getting what we want. It's about getting what's best for our country, fighting for that, and then keep working. And eventually, you get some of what you want. Sometimes you get all in spurts. Never all at once, though. Never all at once. Let's see. Anything else here? All right. Hey, just asking mods, could you make sure you're monitoring the chat? I don't see any trolls right now, but I also don't have time to read every comment. Just making sure, because I know when I talk City of London stuff, they always seem to show up. All right. Let's get into the socialist stuff. Okay, because Mark says Labor Party and London School of Economics are Fabian Marxist communists, not City of London. No, it's all the same stuff, Mark. It's all the same stuff. City of London's behind all of it. They are. You can trace it to all of it. They trace it to the MI6, trace it to their institutions, trace it to the original Crown, the Dutch Trading Company, all these, the Fabian Society, Marxist. It's all them. It's all City of London. Chatham House, Fabian Society, it's all City of London. Yeah, that's what you're missing. See, you're differentiating them. They're the same thing. They all work together. City of London is not just the square mile City of London. It's the system behind all this stuff. It's the system behind that created the intelligence agencies, that created these societies, that's behind all that. They created libertarianism. They created the idea of communism in its current form. They're behind it all. So that's where you and I are going to disagree. Okay. Anything else here before we move on? All right. Again, as always, guys, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you want to support the channel, become a member. The membership has been awesome lately. We're getting all kinds of great people now in the Discord, joining the community. You do so by getting in the description, clicking that link to Patreon. Join that community. The community is amazing. Become a part of it. Discord is 24/7. Great people in that chat. Friendships are made. Great discussions all the time. And from there, you get also all the members live content, which includes my classes. We're currently doing an eschatology class we've been moving through, and deep dives on different things, members' lives. This weekend, you'll get some member content as I'm in DC for the 4th, and so on and so forth. You get a free month if you click that link in the description. So thank you for your attention to this matter. And then, of course, if you want to support the channel, you can always super chat. You can always, always hit me up by tagging me so I can see what you're saying. One of the many with a $10 super chat says, fixing the government's like fixing Land Rovers. No matter how good you are, you can't only get it fixed the first time. There's another layer to the onion. No comment for the Land Rover fans in here, but thank you, one of the many. That made me laugh. That was good. Good stuff. And thank you for the support, brother. As always. Good stuff. I love it. That made me laugh. It's like the whole Ford thing, right? That's great. Daniel Frayne with 20 American Fire memberships. Dan, man, thank you, brother. Guys, if you're getting a membership right now popping up on the screen, you now have access to all of the members' lives here on YouTube. Make sure you go to the community post to see the links to the lives, and you can check out all the content I've done just for members only now over the past 3 years. Thank you, Daniel. That's very generous of you. And again, I want to say thank you to every single person who yesterday, when I was talking about this weekend, how I'm taking my kids to DC for the 4th, to celebrate the 4th, to show them history, to show them our nation on the 250th anniversary. We're going to brave the heat. We're going to brave the crowds because it's worth it. For the rest of their lives, they can tell their kids, I was there on the 250th anniversary of our nation. They're going to see Trump speak. I'm going to see all kinds of amazing things. And so I'm taking them up there. But again, I want to thank everybody who gave yesterday, and I didn't ask for it, but who decided to pitch in and help me pull that off, because it's expensive with 4 kids I'm taking. And I'm not the wealthy, I'm not Mr. Beast here. So, but I just want to thank everybody for your guys' generosity. It's amazing. I am so freaking blessed by everybody here. Like Daniel, like one of the many, like Kevin, and so many others, Katie, who have just, blessed me as you know, as my viewers, you guys are amazing. The members who contribute to this. So yeah, real quick, I wasn't planning on doing that right now, but I just want to say thank you guys. You have you've made it so my trip can be just so much better for my kids and I. And you guys are the best. You're the absolute best, and I greatly, greatly appreciate you. And it just means a lot to me that you guys think my content is that valuable to you. It really means the world, and I'm only going to get better as I get, more as I do this more often, as I keep learning from you guys with your tips. When my sound is bad, when I do something wrong. The members, I listen to you guys, and it'll only get better. And so thank you guys for being a part of making this happen so I can continue to put this together for you guys. My dog Buttaboo with $100 super chat. My God, man, thank you so much. I will use it for the trip. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. You guys are the best. How old are my kids? I'm taking my 18-year-old, my 16-year-old, my 13-year-old, and my 11-year-old. And it's going to be amazing. Unfortunately, the 9-year-old and the 6-year-old don't get to come. But they are, I love them, but they would not do well the whole day in D.C. and my wife isn't going either. She doesn't like crowds. She was like, it's not worth it to me. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I'll take the kids on a history tour. So, all right. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. All right, let's get into this, shall we? So, one of the biggest stories in all the nation right now is this absolute wild takeover that's happening right now in the Democratic Party by this communists. They call themselves the Democratic Socialists, but let's be honest, they're communists, and they're very openly communist. This is a big difference from the Democratic Party of the past, which was communist, but they didn't want you to know it. And this has got them freaking out. See, in the Republican Party, MAGA has been taking over, and MAGA is very much the common sense aspect of Americans. MAGA, if you actually look at the policies we support, is actually very moderate, and yet they label us far right now. I always say that Trump took the best stuff from the left, which is like getting rid of free trade and embracing tariffs, stuff like that. They took the best stuff from the left and brought it over into the MAGA tent. And now we got the best of the right and the left in one area at MAGA, which all that leaves for the Democrats is communism. But they've been hiding it, or trying to hide it, I should say. We know, those who pay attention know. But I'll tell you, that this takeover that's happening right now could be the beginning of the end for the Democratic Party. And it's also got them completely panicked that the midterms now are going out of reach. But Jesse Waters did a great segment on this last night, which I want to share.
School's out for summer. I'm sorry. Unless your last name is Nancy Pelosi. She's got summer school. Berkeley called. Democracy needs saving.
Today is a very exciting day for me because today is the day Berkeley will be announcing the Nancy Pelosi Institute for Representative Democracy. My excitement about this springs from the fact that this will be totally nonpartisan. That's its value.
The problem? Well, her party already switched majors to communism. And the guy she left in charge isn't handling the news well.
There seems to be growing concern within the New York delegation that your endorsement doesn't hold the weight that it once did, that the mayors may perhaps carry more. Do you feel that's fair?
Who in the New York delegation has articulated that, since you're referencing growing concern?
So just as I would not.
So you don't have a name?
Well, I'm going to extend them the same courtesy that I would everybody else, but this question is about you.
Yeah. Well, you asked me a question making reference to particular members, but then you didn't cite a member.
Right, because they're conversations on background. But what is your response to that?
I don't have a response to that.
No response? Oh, the commies certainly have one. One of them's ready to coup hips herself.
Can you see yourself voting for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker?
You know, I was really focused on my primary until just last night, but I do think that, you know, those are types of decisions that you have to really discuss with your community, right?
These people are nuts, and they are going to take them all out. Hakeem Jeffries in New York after this election was completely booed by all the DSA people, and they started chanting, "You're next." The only reason Jeffries survived this primary election is because Mamdani, who is the king of the New York commies, did not put somebody out there to primary him. That's the only reason Timu Obama still is in there. But they have no desire to play ball with this establishment. This is why they're freaking out. And this is why I don't believe this is part of the plan to let the commies take over. The outward commies, I should say. I don't believe this is part of the plan because these people are eating their own. They don't care. They will take down even the electable Democrats, all in the name of this communist ideology, this idealism. They don't care. They will burn it all to the ground, which is good for us because they're not big enough yet to burn our country to the ground, and they won't get in power enough to do so. But if they burn the Democratic Party down, it's only a win for us because it's going to set them back more as well, especially when we get hubs like New York City. See, Americans always reject communism when they finally face it. This has only been allowed to happen because of the managed decline of the last several decades, which has brought about a disruption and a disintegration of the middle class and has left the lower class people feeling hopeless, which allowed them to come into power. The problem is they haven't experienced how bad it is yet. Just wait till they get this New York experiment that they're all joining in so greedily happily right now. It's going to expose a whole lot. See, I'm not worried about this nationwide. Right now, and I'll tell you what, I'll tell you guys when it's time to worry. I'll tell you when it starts spreading and they actually start knocking off people in purple areas or red areas. That hasn't even come close to happening yet. So I'm not worried. What I'm watching in fascination is how fast is this going to destroy the Democratic Party as it is. And I think it's starting to happen at a much accelerated rate.
The Commie Caucus is not contained. It's contagious. Worse than TDS, some say. And Colorado just tested positive.
Why do you think someone with no political experience, at least in the vein that she has, that is resonating with people?
We're resonating with the voters because we're fighting for the things that they care about.
Her primaries tonight. Colorado's about to find out if they're really ready to go full commie.
She won by about 30 points. Just an update on that. So, but again, deep blue district, not purple, not a red district, deep blue. That's what they're taking over. And it's creating exposure. But again, New York and Colorado, still deep blue districts, but Colorado, the Democrats who control Colorado have to be much more moderate than the Democrats who control New York. And it tells you that even they're losing control of their people. That's why this is spreading like gangrene throughout the whole party.
A lawyer from Ethiopia who works as a barista in Denver and says we deserve 9/11. Is that what the Rocky Mountains need in Congress? We're watching, so's the rest of the country, and we'll have results later. Michigan's about to make up its mind. A Muslim communist is running for Senate. Here he is.
I've heard it said that you said when they go low, we choke them out.
I mean, their choice to go low. Don't go low. I'm just saying.
Pencil neck heard choke, took one look at his neck, and folded.
So I'm not afraid of new members or new ideas in the party. I welcome it.
Just like the border. They'll let anybody into the tent. Doesn't matter how much damage they do. Democrats, but they aren't actually allowed to decide for themselves. They were just told to repeat big tent.
Big tent means big tent.
We have to have a big tent.
We are a big tent party.
What makes our party a beautiful party is the fact that it's a big tent.
We are a big tent party.
Chris and Gillibrand's the Democrat.
That is the panic, folks. They don't have a way to fight back. They can't outright say, we reject this. They can't reject it. Because if they do, they will get eaten alive by their base. See, this is what happens when you make deals with the devil to get in charge. They've dealt with the devil. The devil is communism. They dealt with it. They embraced it. They embraced the insanity of transing the kids. They let those people take over. Then now they're letting the commies in, which they've always done, but it's spreading. See, Bernie, the stupidity of the Democratic Party by stealing Bernie's primaries. Okay, when Bernie in 2016 and 2020 would have won the nomination for the Democrats, they stole it from him twice. And in doing so, they infuriated the crazies. And those people just kept spreading, and they allowed Bernie to never be the true loser because the people never got to vote on him in the general election. And so that full rejection never happened. And now it's building popularity. But again, this isn't a problem nationwide yet. This is a problem only in the party. But it's a big, growing problem, and they know it. Now, calling them out for what they are is important. Spencer Pratt, here's Mom Donnie yesterday. They're trying to close down Rikers Island, famous prison in New York City. And Spencer Pratt, God bless him, is calling it out. Whenever I vowed to arrest bad guys, the pushback was always, you can't do that. There's no room in the jails. Communists close the jails. Then they can use the not enough jails excuse to never enforce the laws of your city or roads. See the little commie magic trick? This is how you sneakily eliminate the laws that hold society together. You don't need legislature. You don't need erase laws. You just render them moot by making it practically impossible to ever enforce. That is the danger of these areas. This is what's happened especially in California, especially during COVID, like crazy. But this is the experiment they're going to deal with in New York. The good news is that we have people like Spencer Pratt and President Trump openly calling it what it is now. You see, we avoided that for a long time. We avoided calling them communists because the Democrats would fight back. The media would fight back and people would not believe it. It actually was a detriment too, especially for the middle voters. It's like, you're going too far. They're not actually communists. Don't say that. No, I don't like that. I don't like that kind of politics. It's the same people who think Trump's too mean. So most people weren't willing to say it. The good news is that now by them forcing this out in the open, we can now call a spade a spade. We can identify it as communism, and it's going to keep waking people up. This is the person who won last night. And as Seth Ketchel writes, you should be pulling for the commie to make the suburbs of Denver wake up. Rare chance to make progress in a former stronghold gone to crap. He's absolutely right. Now, this is the guy, as I've told you many times, this guy understands our election system better than anybody I've ever found. He called the 2024 election to the T. He understands, he tracks voter registration. He's more accurate than any pollster has ever been. He's amazing at this, and he gets it and has been saying how this commie takeover is actually a very good thing for the Republicans as it wakes people up. And we are starting to see the Civil War grow in the Democratic Party. Here's John Fetterman, very upset at what's happening in the Democratic Party right now.
Neither one of us, we didn't really understand why we wouldn't do it. And now I watched that list of states that didn't provide a booth. Now they all seem like they were blue control kinds of states. I have no reason why they didn't to do it. But when it's, 250 years to celebrate America, why wouldn't you make sure that your state's going to be there? And now in turning it into owns about, no, there's not this or not this, whatever thing, patriotism is bipartisan. And I hate to see people arguing. And I see the polls of people in my party, I think it's maybe 30% of them roughly are insanely proud to be American or they're proud of America. I am absolutely a Democrat. Everyone should be insanely proud to be American and grateful to be American, especially as now we're approaching our 250th birthday.
Why are they not showing up at the mall? Because their base won't accept it anymore. They're being beholden to that. But does that look good to independents? Does that look good to moderates? No, absolutely not. People want you to be proud of our country. They want Democrats to be a strong party that fights for things a little more big government, but they don't want them to hate our country. Unfortunately, the communists do. And Fetterman's been one of the only people calling out how crazy this is. Now, Peter St. Ong does a wonderful breakdown of what's happening with this rise of the Democratic Socialists.
Democratic Socialists are taking over the Democrat Party, throwing their remaining base under the bus after the party already threw out blue collars. Last week, Democratic Socialists swept all 4 Democrat primaries for congressional seats in New York, tossing another 2 formal Democrat Socialists, according to prediction market Kalshi, plus a dozen fellow travelers like AOC and Rashid Tlaib, and Dems could be looking at close to 20 communists in Congress. Now, 20 is not a big number in a Democrat caucus of 200-ish seats, but sweeping the board is a big deal in politics. It's already got the blue poobahs in a panic. So first, what is a Democrat Socialist? Marketing aside, it's a communist. The official platform wants public ownership of corporations to seize the means of production. They want to, quote, abolish.
I love that. What's a Democratic Socialist? It is a communist. But like he said, see, everybody sees it who pays attention. He said the blue poobahs are freaking out. They're panicking. They know how bad this is for them. But remember, part of what we're seeing is actually them just showing us who they've already been. You see, the Democrats at the top, deep down, are communists. Everything they do is communist. From the censorship to the eroding of common values, of traditional values, to the growth of our government, trying to like nonstop spending, debt craziness, no choices, get rid of your guns. That's what they want. They've always been communist, at least for the last 30, 40 years since that group really took over the Democrats at the top, but they've been hiding it. And the proof is that those still in power do insane stuff. Look at this. House Oversight Committee, 0 Democrats showed up for a discussion today on unaccompanied alien children. I wonder why. Because they all are part of the abominations going on at the border.
There's not one single Democrat here today. It just goes to show that they only really care about these kids when it fits their agenda. Dr. Saldusky, you are a trained criminologist, is that correct?
Correct.
How long have you been studying criminals, victims in our criminal justice system?
Over 26 years.
You said in your opening statement that you were able to interview a member of the Sinaloa cartel. I believe you said his name was Mr. Flores. Is that correct?
Correct.
Where did you interview Mr. Flores, Doctor?
So, Mr. Flores, I discovered him whenever I was researching his testimony. He's testified before Congress. He's also was a key witness.
They went on to, this whole thing was just breaking down the abomination of the hundreds of thousands of children trafficked across the border under the Biden administration. Of course, the Democrats can't be bothered to show up for that. Why? Because they want to subvert our nation. See, the Democratic Socialists, the commies, the outward commies, all they're doing is saying is that they're just being honest. The other Democrats just won't be honest with you. They lie to get elected. They hide who they really are. The only Democrat that's still a patriot in all of Congress is John Fetterman. And he had to have a stroke to have his brain reset in order to get there. He is the only traditional Democrat left. All the rest of them have given into this. And they're freaking out because they know that if they're honest, nobody will show up. But this is what we do. We're going to keep exposing them so that they realize that those commies that are running, it's actually all of them. They just don't want you to know it. Here's proof of how it's been taking over the party. Here's my favorite New York Jew. Harry, tell him what's going on.
Interesting, and I would dare say a little bit nutty. How proud to be an American? You know, among Republicans, 93% are extremely or very proud. Just a single one, say they have little to no pride in being an American. But look over at the Democratic side. This is where we've seen this extremely or very number. It's been taking a tumble at 27%. Which is way different than the 93. You do the quick math with me here. What is that? That's a 66-point difference here in terms of extremely or very. But look at this. The little or no proud to be an American actually among Democrats eclipses is greater than the extremely or very proud number. So we are just living in such a different universe if you're a Republican versus a Democrat on the basic fundamental question of being proud to be an American.
So for Democrats, has it always been thus?
No, it hasn't. You know, I mentioned this 36%, the little or no, actually outrunning the extremely or very. And I will note that this is the first time ever among Democrats in which this little or no actually eclipses the extremely or very. And look at this, back in 2001, look at this. The extremely or very, and this is pre-9/11, the extremely or very actually outran the little or no by 84 points. 84 points. Now the little or no outruns the extremely or very by 9 points. So what is that? 84 to 9. That is a 93-point switcheroo in 25 years among Democrats. Now more Americans for the first time ever say, more Democrats for the first time ever say that in fact they have little or no pride to be an American than extremely or very. And that is just very, very different from what we're used to seeing.
What changed since 2001? See, for the longest time, Americans loved being Americans, even Democrats, all the way up till 2001. Almost 90%. They were galvanized around 9/11. George Bush had 90% approval rating. Wild stuff. That would never happen today, no matter what happened to our country. That's crazy. What's happened since then? Well, it all really started shifting under Obama. See, Obama made it cool to hate America. Michelle Obama being interviewed about proud to be American. I've never been proud of our country, she said. I've never been proud. We've never been excellent. President Obama started changing that. Why? He was a Manchurian candidate. He was sent to start eroding us. Now, it was already happening before. I'm not pretending the deep state didn't control Bush, Clinton, aspects of Reagan's administration, Jimmy Carter, going far back, all the way since 1913 is when it started. Woodrow Wilson, clearly globalist, clearly City of London type. It's gone back a long time. But Obama was their guy. He was the one that was coming. He was the chosen one, completely groomed by John Brennan to be the perfect candidate to get in, say what he needed to say, and to seed the discord in his own party that would spread like wildfire and make it okay to hate our nation, make it okay to hate capitalism, make it okay to be racist again. He did all that, and he accomplished it a lot. Not fully. If he had succeeded fully, we never would have gotten Trump. If he had succeeded fully, I want to be doing the show right now. I'd be blocked on YouTube, and Rumble probably would have been shut down. Just saying. X certainly wouldn't be owned by Elon. Trump is a key factor. The people coming out and saying, no more, we're done. But the damage is still there, and we still see the rot within the Democratic Party, what's left over. And this shows you it. Less than 30% of Democrats claim to be proud of our country. The greatest country on earth, who even in our worst times has been amazing. That's at least amazing compared to other countries, compared to most of world history. So to say that tells you how deep that rot has got in their brain and how far they have to go. Now, the good news is that the openness is going to get those Democrats who are proud to be American, they're going to start leaving the party by more and more. The Democratic Party is getting weaker and weaker. It's not getting stronger. Why do you think they're freaking out so bad? They had to, in California, they had to rig the Los Angeles election to make sure Spencer Pratt couldn't even make it to the general. Guys, that's panic. That's not control. That's panic. That's in California. The bluest of blue. They had to rig a blue city's election to stop a guy who's openly anti-communist, openly on the right, from getting in. They are losing control, not gaining it. And the Democratic Party continues to shrink as this happens. But as it shrinks, they will get more and more radical. I can guarantee that. Now, we're watching the frustration of this rise. Here is Mike Lawler. Mike is a rhino Republican. He is establishment Republican. But as this next couple of clips is going to show you, even Mike Lawler is losing it with the Democrats because they have gone so insane. And this tells you a lot of where we're headed.
Back in May of 2023, over 3 years ago, Sheridan's murderer illegally entered the United States. Border Patrol caught him. They apprehended him. But then, because of the Biden administration's ludicrous open border policies, he was released into our country. A month later, he was arrested for shoplifting in Chicago. Under existing law and the law at the time, he should have been deported right then and there.
Point of order, this is not an introduction.
By our federal laws.
Point of order, this is not an introduction, it's a speech.
You should be ashamed of yourselves.
It is
disgraceful.
Mr. Chairman, yes, for a ruling on the point of order.
Mr. Chairman, precisely because you have failed to do your job.
Yes,
you wonder why we had 4 hearings? It's because you don't understand the consequence of sanctuary policy.
Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, we won't give our approval for people to introduce their constituents if people don't stick to the rules. So I appreciate the chairman's insistence that we stick to the rules and that you have the opportunity to introduce your constituent, which I think you have done.
My constituent
so thank you very much, Mr. Lawler and Mr. Chairman.
Sharing the details of her death. You may not want to hear the details. It may be an inconvenience to you, but these details matter.
This is the Trump effect, where even establishment Republicans are starting to see they can't survive unless they go MAGA. And it got even crazier.
The same outrage you feel about Renee Good and Alex Preddy, you should feel about Sheridan Gorman and Laken Riley and every Angel family in this country.
I do feel that outrage.
You do not. Because if you did, you would not support sanctuary jurisdiction.
Do you feel the outrage about Alex Preddy and Renee Good? You should be ashamed. You don't belong in this committee. You should get the hell out of here. You don't understand the rules of the committee. You don't understand the Constitution.
Mr.
Raskin,
You're an absolute disgrace supporting sanctuary policy.
Say one word about
Get rid of sanctuary
Alex Preddy.
I did. I wrote a whole New York Times op-ed about it. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself for not opposing sanctuary policies that resulted in their daughter's death.
That's Jamie Raskin. You see, we're not playing nice with these people anymore. Not even our establishment guys who are not MAGA. These guys aren't even playing nice with the Democrats anymore because they've gone so crazy. Lawler had a little bit more to say on this whole exchange. TMC, DC.
I got to ask you about what just went down in this hearing.
Yeah.
That was serious. I mean, you guys were like screaming at each other, you and Jamie Raskin, like, you should be ashamed of yourself. Why do you think it got like that heated? I mean, that was intense to watch.
Well, first of all, if you heard the opening statements of Pramila Jayapal and Jamie Raskin, it was absolutely outrageous. It was disgusting. And it insulted those Angel families that were sitting there. As Jessica Gorman just said in her testimony, they said, we're sorry for your loss, but. There's no but. Sanctuary policies are the reason their daughter is dead. How anybody can support allowing criminal aliens to stay in this country and prohibiting local and state law enforcement from cooperating with federal officials is beyond measure. And for those folks that were rightly outraged at the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, they should be equally outraged at the deaths of Sheridan Gorman and Laken Riley. And I'm sorry, my Democratic colleagues are not. They are not outraged by their deaths.
Let's just talk about.
And that is the fundamental problem here. And frankly, Jamie Raskin and Pramila Jayapal are assholes.
Whoa.
And there it is. Call it like it is. I love it. I don't even like Mike Lawler. I don't even like him. He was trying to get amnesty basically for the Haitians. But I got to tell you, this is a good sign. All right. This is what we want to see. They don't put up with it anymore. This is good news. This is a good sign heading into the midterms. They are effing a-holes. I love it. And I got to tell you guys, This is the beginning. See, this is what happens. The commies are taking over, and even the establishment Republicans, many of them, can't deal with it. They're like, we can't go this far. Even we are maybe being turned back. We'll have to watch and see how it plays out. But the good news is that as this opens up, there's a lot of good happening towards the midterms that make me feel like we are going to wipe them out. And as they are getting weaker by destroying themselves from within their own party, here's some good signs coming. As political data here says, Republicans are beginning to unload their FU money. Well, look at this. Here's the fall reservations targeting congressional races, almost $1 billion. Of that total, 463 is targeting Senate races. Republican advertisers have 139 million more than Democrats. Look at this. You know what's helping this, by the way? The Supreme Court ruling that just happened that said you can't limit the money that goes into all this. This is very much on our side here. Mark Halperin, the ultimate fence sitter, the ultimate I can't choose a side, decent reporter, very annoying sometimes, but even he says this: because the Democrats raise less than $1 million donations because there's no Democratic Party analog for James Blair, who is in charge of Republican elections, especially in the MAGA perspective, in terms of portfolio influence, authority, and or coordination experience, this is likely to be a much bigger midterm advantage to Republicans than is currently thought by many. Yeah, you think so? This is how we win, guys. See, people are freaking out over a lot of what the Supreme Court did, and rightfully so. But it's not the end. They did do some good things, and if we keep winning these elections and we keep getting more MAGA because we're voting in the primaries, and then we get those MAGA people through, and the Democrats get weaker and weaker, I'm telling you, 2026, if the Democrats don't get in power, they might not see power again for a very long time based on the demographics heading forward. And the polls are getting a lot worse for them. Seth Keschel writes, amazing how we went from Peltola +7 or more in last month's fake polls to now a Sullivan lead. That's in Alaska. Reminder, Dems need to win 2 out of 4 of Iowa, Alaska, Ohio, and Texas if they won 4 out of 5 key races just to get a 50-50 split. In other words, it's almost impossible for them to get the Senate. Currently, we're winning in Alaska. We're winning in Iowa. We're not going to lose either of those. We're probably going to lose North Carolina because Whatley sucks and I live in North Carolina. Apparently, I live amongst a bunch of retarded people who still think Roy Cooper is a good guy after he was the governor during COVID, but whatever. And Ohio, we are winning. They basically have no road to the Senate if this happens. That's number one. That's good. The next thing is good is Trump is calling out and building up this whole communist push. And he did so again yesterday as he celebrated Tina Peters being free. And he writes, Free Tina became the rallying cry of the Republican Party over the past 2 years. Tina Peters came to the White House to thank me for getting her released from prison in Colorado, put there because she found election fraud. But instead of arresting people who committed the fraud, they arrested her. Gave her 9 years in jail. She served 2, much time in solitary confinement along with hardened criminals and murderers. Now I got the Republican Party into gear and she was released. By the way, he got her released. This was a state crime, so he can't pardon her, not legally. He still got a Democrat governor to pardon her and get her out. That's a big deal. Trump wielding power over the Democrats. Tina's 70, suffered a major bout with cancer. Hopefully he's cancer free. But what she went through should never happen again. Just think of it. She caught the Democrats cheating. They put her in jail for voter fraud. They didn't want her out there speaking to media. She knows that the voting machines are rigged. The mail-in ballots are a disaster, and our elections are very dangerous and corrupt at a time when, with the threat of communism, we must be very wise and careful. It was an honor to have lunch with her. I was fortunate my vote in 24 was too big to rig, but they tried. There wasn't a thing they could do about it, but not everyone's in that position. Thank you for your attention to this matter. There it is, calling out the communism, all the rigging. The person who knows where the bodies are buried, the behind the scenes, calling it out, is now free. Trump's having lunch with her. I'm telling you, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we know. But again, the whole calling out the communism, calling out the voting machines, this is all going to lead somewhere. It's just a matter of time. Now, in regards to the SAVE Act, Tim Burchett is starting to talk about bringing J.D. Vance in as leader to get the SAVE Act through.
Thank you so much. Just want to get your thoughts on J.D. Vance going in the Senate to preside over the Senate to actually implement the talking filibuster. Is this a viable path forward to get the Save America Act passed?
Sure, it is. It's a scorched earth deal, though. I mean, if he does it, there's no turning back. It totally guts Thune. And who are we going to put in there behind him? That's always what you got to worry about, is who's going to be the number two.
Yeah.
It's not going to be somebody conservatives that votes like you or I would, I can guarantee you, because the Senate will just have their feelings hurt, and that's the way they'll do.
So what's the alternative in your
I don't know. I mean, I'm all for it. I don't care. I'm all for it. I'm a scorched earth kind of guy.
I love it.
As we say in East Tennessee, scorched earth, ERF.
Okay, so can you talk to J.D. Vance then to get this done?
Maybe I have. Maybe.
There we go. Little insight there. Are they finally going to pull that? Or is this just, little kayfabe? Who knows? I don't know, but constitutionally they can do it. If you get J.D. Vance there overseeing the Senate, well, here's what J.D. Vance thinks about the SAVE Act.
The president has been laser focused on getting the Save America Act passed. And you're right, we actually have the majority of Senate Republicans who will support it. I actually don't think the problem that they have is with the Save America Act legislation itself. The problem that they have, with all due respect, is that they're worshiping dying institutional norms when the Democrats are in fact bragging that as soon as they get control, they're going to throw that stuff aside and make it so much harder for Republicans to even win elections. So what some of these Republicans are saying is they don't want to give up on the norm of the filibuster, this sacred Senate institutional norm that a few senators are obsessed with, including, of course, Mitch McConnell. The problem, Laura, is that Democrats themselves are saying the minute that they get power, the filibuster is going out the door. So unilaterally submitting and surrendering as Republicans when Democrats are openly bragging that they're going to get rid of the filibuster, it's just handing your enemy a weapon that they're going to use to strike you down. It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. But that's why we frankly have to get better senators in there in the future.
Yeah, you've been following what's going on with the Democrat.
Keep hammering it. Keep hammering it. At some point, there comes a tipping point if the American people, especially on the MAGA Republican side, push hard enough and all of them worry about losing their seats, Thune, etc., we could get this pushed through. If Vance comes in, if they pull that nuclear option, that'll be very interesting. It's never been done before. Will Trump do it before the midterms? I don't know. Because it's so crazy. It'd be such a change. It might shock people away from voting. And so I'm trusting Trump's gut instincts on this. But after the midterms, anything is possible. Anything's go. And so keep your eyes open for this. In the meantime, I'm trusting that there's enough in place to make sure the midterms go well. And one of the reasons I believe that is because 2024 went well for us with the Democrats in charge. And I keep hammering that home because we cannot forget, guys, anybody who thinks the midterms are going to be worse, do you really think they didn't go all out to stop Trump in 24? Do you honestly believe that? I don't know what to tell you if you believe that, but they weren't able to do it. Do you think they have more power now? I just don't see how that's possible. Leading up, here's more on the convention. It's now official. Republicans are having a convention for the midterms. Never been done before. This is actually a very big deal. September 9th and 10th in Dallas, Texas. Trump, here's what he says. Big news. First time ever, Republican Party will hold a midterm convention. It'll be in Dallas, Texas, one of my favorite places in the world. It'll be fantastic. Never done before. Truly historic event. We're going to celebrate the great American comeback, the incredible successes of the American people who transformed our country through the America First agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, stronger borders, safest ever communities, lower costs, real affordability, more jobs, American energy dominance, so much more. All prices dropping sharply even as we denuclearize Iran. delivering on the promises politicians talked about for decades never got done. At the event, we'll have hardworking Americans, our great innovators, entrepreneurs, manufacturers, first responders, and job creators who are powering our nation's golden age, proving America's best days are ahead of us. We'll also have lots of great entertainment. It'll be a rally like none other. Our birthday's approaching. Together, we're building a foundation for the next 250 years of American greatness. Dallas will take center stage on September 9th and 10th as we celebrate our nation, our achievements, and our bright future. The golden age of America has only just begun. This will be... The Democrats don't have the money to put on a convention. So by Trump doing this, you understand every convention in presidential years always brings with it a bump because you soak up all the media attention for the days of the convention. Americans listen to your message in ways they haven't heard before. You get to experience the inspiration of your candidates. You get that connection to them. You hear the vision they have, and you do it in a controlled setting where it's very effective, and polls bump because of that. In the past, it's usually a wash because you each get a convention, but this time there won't be a Democrat convention. The Republicans will have all the attention with Trump having all these people coming up. Finally, it won't be just people watching my channel getting a lot of the news of what's going on. This is going to happen here in front of everybody. That's a big deal. The other big deal is, why is it a convention and not a rally? Did Trump just use the language to get people to watch? Or are they actually going to have new people appointed as nominees? Because usually in a presidential year, you have a convention so that you can choose the nominees for your party. That's one of the reasons you don't do it in midterms. Is that a potential? I don't know. But we're going to find out one way or the other. It's going to be huge. And so as all this is going on, guys, it's pretty clear that Trump has a plan to win the midterms. It's trending in the right direction. As Trump is doing all this, as his approval's going up, as gas prices are going down, as the economy's starting to heat up, the Democrats are eating their own. And so I'm very excited about where we're going. I believe this whole commie takeover is a very good thing for us. They are freaking out about this. Republicans are starting to wake up, even in like Mike Lawler, what I just showed you. And then we still got a long way to go. July 4th, the World Cup's still going on. By the way, go USA tonight. We're playing, who are we playing tonight? I know we're in the elimination round though. And so go USA. Still got the World Cup going on here in America. Been wildly successful. 250th, a convention coming up. The momentum is just, it's all hitting at once. And you can kind of see how Trump has weaved this all together so that we could smash the midterms and shock the world. And that, after that, I don't know what the Democrats have left. They're going to try. It's going to be fascinating. But again, they're putting everything on this midterms because they never thought they'd lose 24. They got swept in 24. This was supposed to be their comeback. Ride the anti-Trump hate. Ride the disappointment that things aren't happening fast enough. Ride all that. Sweep back into the midterms and get hope for your future. We take the midterms, we take away their hope. Because 28 right now is a disaster waiting to happen for them. And it's only going to get much worse depending on what happens in the midterms. All right, guys, hit that like and subscribe. Got a lot more to come. We're going to get into a lot of the justice aspect of what Trump's accomplishing, the Trump administration's accomplishing next. But first, I want to get into the chat. I did see a couple of super chats come in. I definitely got to hit these up first. I mean, my God, Kevin with a $300 super chat. Kevin, brother, that is such an incredible blessing. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, man. And I pray lots of good things your way, my friend. Thank you so much for your support of the channel and this trip I'm taking this weekend. Elise, $10 super chat. Thank you, Elise. She says, thank you for the subscription. Have a fantastic vacation. I will. Thank you, Elise. David123 with a $20 super chat says, I'm reading David McCulloch's 1776 books for the 250th. Can't believe how divided the revolution was. Country was just as divided then as it is now, if not more. Many Americans were loyal to the king. Absolutely right. In fact, the entire idea that we're more divided now as a country than ever before is a psyop. They want you to believe that. They want you to be black-pilled. They want you to think this is the worst time ever. It's a lie. It's all a lie. History proves it to us. Anybody who studies history laughs when people tell them that things are worse than ever. It's a total psyop. It's meant to make you bunker down and just wait for Jesus to come back. It's to make you ineffective, not get involved, and doom. Blackpilling is a psyop. Always. And this whole notion of America is beyond redemption. We're so screwed. We all hate each other. It's worse than ever. It's all a psyop. All a massive psyop. You telling me we're more divided than the Civil War? Come on now. Like, it's so stupid. But I'm thankful to you for calling that out, David. And I thank you very much for supporting the channel. Bev Miller with a $10 super chat says, why isn't Trump fixing the Smith-Mundt Act to prevent MSM propaganda? Normies will never wake up unless there's a leash on MSM. A couple of things. A, I don't think he has the votes to go after Smith-Mundt. And I think if he did, they would just do it. Because he doesn't have the votes, it's not worth going after the political capital to do it because there's more important things like the Save America Act. That's number one. Number two is I disagree with your conclusion that normies will never wake up. Plenty are already waking up because the MSM, what Trump has done instead of getting rid of the Smith-Mundt Act is he's actually exposed the MSM to where now nobody trusts it. Mainstream media has like a 13% approval rating at this point. Very, very few people watch MSM, and it's almost all Democrats. So the Smith-Mundt Act is nowhere near as effective as it was in the past. It's not a problem like it was in the past. So I just want you to understand, like, that's one of the reasons he's not pushing on that, is there's other things that make a lot more need the effort and political capital much more so than the Smith-Mundt Act right now. So that's my full answer to your question, both parts. I hope that helps. All right, let's see here. DJ says you can't move to the center when you spend 10 years demonizing your opponent. Socialism's our only choice. Well, that's very true for many people. Absolutely. Thank you for the eagle, Molly Cruel. That was a very cool eagle. Am I missing anybody else who tagged me? I did notice a troll in here earlier. We got rid of them because they were pathetic. That's always fun. I actually really enjoy banning people. It's really fun. I like cleaning up the chat, keeping all the good people here. So, who talks about the Revolutionary War like you were there? I've greatly studied the Revolutionary War, I'll tell you that. I've greatly studied American history in general because I think it's very important to know where we came from so we know where we're going and to have perspective. Marcus Aurelius says, not only can Dems not afford a convention, can you imagine what lawlessness, destruction, and debauchery would be on display if they were to have it? Yeah, it'd be worse than 24. It really would. Okay. He called Raskin Dr. Durag. Jamie Raskin is terrible. Doridio, best is yet to come. Amen. I completely agree with you. DJ says Butler's situation woke him up. Sure, a lot more people woke up after Charlie Kirk. Yeah, there's been a lot of people waking up, guys. A lot of people, and it's only going to continue. Now, I'm not going to pretend that everything is hunky-dory. There are a lot of people who voted for Trump, who are MAGA, who are disappointed right now. But it's the people who don't pay much attention. You understand? It's the people who don't like deep dive politics, who don't know trends, who don't understand history and how politics work. Those people thought they'd elect Trump and things would be better in 2 weeks. And that is, unfortunate. But those people always exist and they always will exist. It's just how it goes. Okay. But the truth is that ultimately they don't matter as much. Not as people, but I mean in the political sense, because eventually the policies will start working. And what matters more than policy is how people feel. And with this push that Trump started with the UFC event and going forward for this whole summer, this 250 celebration, those feelings are only going to get better for our country. Being reminded how great our country is a good thing. That's great marketing. That's like Reagan's Morning in America, one of the great marketing campaigns ever by a president. You keep making that feeling return, and all of a sudden, you gather your support right back up. So I'm not worried about the people who are disappointed right now. And also, let's just be honest, a lot of them are liars. And I don't mean the people who are actually disappointed. I mean the people who are being open about it. Whenever you hear somebody go on a show or on X being like, there's so many people like me, we voted for Trump 3 times and now we hate him. There's not many people like you. There's maybe we see it in the polling for Trump's approval, especially in the party. His party approval is highest than any other president has ever been at this point. The party loves him. The MAGA base loves him still. Yeah, you might have 1% of people upset, but there's not that many people that stupid that would vote Trump 3 times and all of a sudden be so mad they just go vote socialist. Those are only like the most retarded people. And what can you do with that? The rest of them are psyoping because they want you to believe we're losing and we're losing a ton of people. So they're either frauds or they're retarded, and they just can't do much about either of those. But the thing you need to do is look at the actual statistics, look at the actual trends of polling. Polls by themselves lie, but trends don't. Okay, so you look at the trends, and the trends are that Trump is still enormously popular with his base. Molly Cruel, the $10 super chat says, is Kevin single? Kevin, that's up to you. He says, I'm too broke to send you off while I'm paying for a wedding, but I try. Enjoy your birthday in DC. Oh, thanks, Motley. I appreciate you. Save the money for the wedding, but God bless you. I appreciate the $10. Thank you so much. You're awesome. And we'll have to say what Kevin says. Thank you, Jeffrey. Glad you found the channel. I appreciate you. Glad you found it. All right, let's see. Sabatic says, I voted for Trump 3 times. I'm happy. I'm getting 75% of what I vote for. The other 25% is politics. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm getting 90% of what I voted for, and the other 10% I feel is on its way. That's how I feel. I've never been happier with a presidential term than I am this time. Jay, if I ever see anything I say is Jay, I already know you. I'm not gonna ban you, brother. I already know you. You're not gonna get banned. I won't take if you're messing with me, I won't take it as as ban worthy. All right, guys, we need to keep moving. The show's growing a little long, but it's okay. We still got a lot to get to, though. So today, for everybody who says the Trump administration is not getting anything done, we're not seeing arrests. Well, these things take time. And today, we got a massive checklist of wins from the task force to eliminate fraud. Say 100 days of winning. Here's some of the things we've accomplished. And they just list all this stuff. 512 million recovered in unemployment claims. Department of Labor demands states implement anti-fraud controls. Department of Ag announces arrests of over 1,000 SNAP fraudsters and disqualifies 1,500 retailers connected to 800 million of SNAP fraud. Ibrahim Hilmi, charged with orchestrating 3.7 billion apprehended in Turkey, brought to the U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche announces $5 billion recovered by DOJ. National healthcare fraud takedown. 455 defendants charged with $6.5 billion of fraud. Seized assets include 4.6 million beach house, yacht named Butt Naked. Department of Education saves $200 million. Dr. Oz announces conviction of Medicare fraudster operating for on and on and on. Win after win after win. 6.3 billion potentially fraudulent government contracts busted. 1.3 billion deferral. It's happening. We are cutting the fraud out. We are saving the money. I highly recommend checking out the entire list. It's huge, and it shows you we're winning. Things are happening. We're bringing money back. We're eliminating people's ability to rip off our tax dollars. It's incredible stuff. And, you know, not every tax dollar is going to be recovered because it's spent. And unfortunately, in American law, if you don't have the money to pay it back, you can just declare bankruptcy and be let off scot-free. So that's unfortunate. But the good news is this will slow it down significantly going forward. And we're only just beginning. We have this from the Fraud Enforcement Division. Telemedicine company owner and author of healthcare compliance book sentenced for $136 million Medicare fraud scheme. This lengthy sentence underscores Fraud Division's commitment to the American fighting fraud at every turn, restore public trust in institutions. Will work tirelessly to hold corrupt medical professionals accountable and recover stolen taxpayer dollars. So they're doing what they can. But again, convictions, sentencing, weeding it out. This stops others from doing it because they were able to get off scot-free for so long. RFK Jr. today announces ending emergency liability protection for COVID-19 vaccine makers. Uh-oh. What's that going to result in? Oh, man. They have got to be terrified about that. See, COVID vaccine is not covered under the vaccine liability from the 1980s law because it's not technically a vaccine. Uh-oh. What's this going to open up? Very, very interesting. Scott Bessent announced today that, well, first of all, the Treasury Department announced multiple actions combating fuel smuggling schemes linked to Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generacion, violent terrorist drug cartel. Today's action highlights the extent in which Mexico's cartels are expanding beyond traditional drug trafficking to generate revenue for criminal organizations, which continue to traffic deadly drugs to kill Americans. Treasury's actions targeting these illicit revenue streams advance the Trump administration's priority of dismantling these terrorist organizations, making America safe again. Cut the funding. All wars are economic wars. This administration understands it better than any. They continue to cut the funding in ways I've never seen before. And honestly, one of the reasons people are frustrated because they wanted us to go, or Trump administration to go, just put everybody in bondage, put them all perp walked immediately. In fact, what they're doing is much more effective. They're cutting off the funding while also going after the fraudsters. But cutting off the funding kills the golden goose, stops them in their tracks, eliminates their ability to continue the fraud, to continue the terrorism and the crimes. It's genius, and it's far more effective than what people thought they were going to get. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the same optics, but it's actually doing what we voted for and more. Now, look at this. U.S. House just passed 420-0, a resolution directing House Ethics Committee to preserve and publicly release records related to monetary settlements involving acts of sexual harassment and misconduct by House members, current or former. Whoa. Thomas Massie, he actually did something good for once. Forced a quick floor vote. No one spoke against it. What happens next? No Senate action needed. Ethics Committee must now release records publicly, mostly within 60 days. Expect names, settlement amounts, and details to come out with some redacted victim info. Wow. We're going to start seeing how many of our congressmen have been pervs. This is excellent. This is justice, guys. Exposure is justice. Elon Musk posted this the other day, yesterday. Terrorists standing in front of a U.S. aid wallpaper. That's interesting. This was posted previously by Q. What's Elon trying to tell us? Elon Musk posted a photo on the left. Q posted a photo plus a photo of McCain with ISIS on the right, connected. It says we're getting closer. 2010 Uranium One deal approved by Obama and the U.S. government or Clinton State Department allowed Russia's Rosatom to acquire U.S. uranium assets, allegedly supplying uranium to North Korea and Iran. Operation Merlin covertly provided nuclear tech to these nations. Obama's billions in cash on pallets was a key that funded further development with funds to black sites projects like Iran, North Korea, ISIS, orchestrated by no-name McCain. Yep. McCain, total slimeball. One of the worst Republicans ever. He's not missed, but it's very interesting when you get Elon Musk sharing what was in Q Post, just like President Trump frequently shares. Interesting stuff. Meanwhile, MK Ultra hearings going on in the House yesterday, led by Paulina Luna. Here is a little clip.
Is it in your expert opinion that Jack Ruby and Manson were assets of the intelligence agencies specifically pertaining to MK Ultra? Were they MK Ultra victims?
Yeah, theoretically, Manson, I've never been able to prove absolutely. Jack Ruby, I believe, this is something else. The Warren Commission investigation, on the Warren Commission was Alan Dulles, the former CIA director, who authorized and ran MK Ultra until he was fired by President Kennedy. The liaison to the committee for the CIA, who handled the information coming from the CIA back and forth to the Warren Commission, was Richard Helms, who was a direct supervisor of Jolly West. They knew who West was. They knew that what West was capable of and what they had paid him to do and what he had reported to them that he could do, including inducing mental disorders in people. That was never disclosed to the commission as far as anyone knows. So I believe that West was put in there to keep Jack Ruby from telling his story.
Whoa. Crazy stuff. Manson and Jack Ruby. MK Ultra. Wild.
Wow. In closing, I just want to thank you all for being here today. And we will be following up, Dr. Kinzer, on your request to fully redact. I'll be following up personally with the director of the CIA, the MK Ultra files that we do have. Also, as I noted earlier, there will be more that will be declassified, specifically pertaining to newly found records that were located in what we were discussing earlier. I did also want to just state that, for the record, in regards to what statements were made earlier regarding the German government, we will also be following up on that. If there are indeed people that were victims of this that have been buried, we would like to know who those people are and who their families are as well, in order to correct the historical wrongdoings of this government. Without further ado, I would like to state that all members have 5 legislative days within to...
You hear what she said? More D-class coming. Found new files, she said. You guys understand that this coming out to the open, being legitimized, these conspiracy theories are all real. Not all of them, but a lot of them are real. And we're finding out which ones. This is justice, because the people, once they realize this stuff's real, will demand it. Just wait. It's getting crazier. Here's more from the hearing.
You, sir. Operation Paperclip brought over 1,600 German scientists into the United States government after World War II, including individuals who had conducted human experimentation in concentration camps. The CIA and military were aware of their backgrounds and recruited them anyways. In your research, did you find direct documentation between Paperclip scientists and the development of MK Ultra's experimental protocols, specifically the use of mescaline, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation, which were techniques also documented at Dachau?
Absolutely. Kurt Blome, who was the chief of biological weapons development for the Nazi government, came to work for the CIA. So did Walter Schreiber, who was the Surgeon General of the Nazi Army. I can just tell a brief story. When I was researching my book, I found what I think might be the first secret CIA prison or black site. It's a nice chalet in Germany. And the guy who now owns it took me into the basement. He said these were the cells where the MK Ultra officers, working side by side with Nazis, carried out those gruesome experiments, which were actually just continuations of the experiments that those Nazis had been conducting just a few years earlier right down the road.
Just for timeline and clarification, these experiments were happening after the Nuremberg trials, correct? So the CIA would have known that these were crimes against humanity.
I looked for an episode in which the Nuremberg doctrines were posted on the wall in some MK Ultra or CIA office, and I was never able to find any indication that those Nuremberg principles ever were even consulted, much less obeyed.
Whoa. Working with the Nazis. This stuff is crazy. Guys, it's happening. People are waking up. More and more is being exposed. Here's a great example of it. In this exchange with the NIH. Remember, NIH, that's who Fauci was in control of. That's who the institution behind the COVID cover-up and the COVID spread. That was one of the beginnings of the mass awakening for a lot of people. And here's the proof that it has an effect and it does matter. And these things do end up leading to good things down the road. Watch this.
Do you think the NIH has a trust problem based on how they handled COVID?
No, I do not. I think that the NIH is beloved by the American people because we know about the advances.
She's obviously lying, okay? She knows it. You can see it in the face. But at the same time, they're trying to create the illusion that we're not waking up. Did you hear what she just said? People love the NIH. Nope. But watch.
This is in human health and cancer treatments and heart disease and diabetes and all of the health gains that the research has produced.
Well, I think you're wrong, ma'am. I think the public has a serious mistrust issue with the NIH. Do you deny that the NIH tried to cover up the origin of COVID?
I'm not here to testify about that. That's not my area of science. I have no knowledge of that.
Do you believe that the NIH supported masking and social distancing when there was really no science to support that?
What I'm more concerned about is what's happening right now to destroy the Biomedical Research Institute that has been the envy of the world. And right now, we're ceding our leadership in biomedical research to China. That's what's happening right now.
What about covering up harmful side effects of vaccines and the role that the NIH has played in that? What do you have to say about that, ma'am?
The U.S.
Real quick, I got to show you. Look at her face when he does this. Look how angry she is. First of all, shocking. I don't want to talk about vaccines. Then the anger. She's just like, she terses up as she looks down.
What do you have to say about that, ma'am?
Cannot believe we're doing this. Look at this.
The U.S. history of human subjects protection has evolved greatly. Numerous research improprieties from the 50s to the 70s in the United States, including the Tuskegee syphilis study, forced Congress to establish formally federally
I'm not asking you about
mandated rules.
You know what I'm asking you about? I'm asking you about how NIH handled COVID. Obviously, this is supposed to be a hearing about MK Ultra, but when you gave your opening statement, and I don't even know why you were called to this hearing because you didn't offer anything about MK Ultra. But since you are here and you're going to defend NIH, I'm going to call you out on it.
Silence. You hear the tears? That, friends, is the proof that the awakening matters.
Do you see now what I'm talking about? When you say that the NIH doesn't have integrity problems and trust issues, did you hear the applause in this room? That should tell you right now that you're pretty tone deaf to what the public thinks about how the NIH handled COVID and the cover-up, not only the funding of it, but the cover-up involved in the aftermath. Can you acknowledge that?
I'm sorry, that's not my understanding.
Oh, man. Guys, by the way, speaking of the Supreme Court this week and everybody's disappointment with the Supreme Court did give us something. They just gave us the ability for Trump to fire all these people. Yeah. Now we can clean house. And by we, I mean the Trump administration, which I'm not a part of, but it feels like a we, right? You know, we win. We win when the Trump administration does this stuff. But he can fire all these people now. He couldn't before. They are terrified of this. Now, Trump's trying to, tell us what's coming. All this stuff happening, the awakening, the arrest, the covering up, or cutting out the fraud, the drying up their funding. And then Trump posted this yesterday. Why would the Trump White House, out of the blue, focus American people on this old Hillary post? She was never supposed to lose. Now they all lose. Trump's focusing American people on a Q drop, maybe? Never thought they'd all lose. Here's what Trump posted. Just be yourself, Hillary. Everyone will love you. The White House posted this yesterday. Happy birthday to this future president in response to today's social media day. What social media post will forever remain unmatched? And they posted this in response. Oh my God. So funny. By the way, the narcissism of Hillary Clinton posting this is unbelievable. I'll never forget when that happened, but the White House is sharing it again. It makes me so happy. Makes me so happy. Now, Trump had this to say about Pulte coming in and more exposure a la what Polina Luna's doing.
We've got DNI Pulte over there as the new director. We also know you have the task force set up on declassification, maybe talking about international, maybe looking at some declassification. Are you able to give us an update on that?
Declassify almost everything. And, you know, by the way, we have Jay Clayton is going in. You know, Bill Pulte's a very talented guy, but he's just there temporarily until Jay Clayton. And Jay Clayton is going through the process. And Jay Clayton, highly respected, and so is Bill Pulte. But Bill is there just for a fairly short period of time. But while he's there, I said, you can declassify whatever you want.
Do you think we're going to get some soon, or maybe 2020?
I told him you can do it as fast. You got to ask him.
All right.
But I think he's a friend of yours. I think that Bill will declassify. Yeah. I told him you can declassify whatever you want. So Bill's there just, you know, for maybe a month or 2 months or something. And Jay is going through the process. He's got a hearing in 2 weeks. Highly respected man, Jay Clayton. Okay?
Thank you.
Declassify whatever you want. Oh, man. Are you guys ready for more? He's already fired a ton of people up there. Pulte is in to just smash the shop, to just wreck the whole intelligence agencies, mess them up, clear house, get stuff out there, and then Clayton is going to come in and take it to the next level. But man, very exciting stuff. Declassify whatever you want. So this is just the beginning, folks. We're, you know, if you didn't think the first year and a half of Trump was fun, wait till the last 2.5 years. It's about to get so much more fun going forward. Now, City of London is showing us some panic. This is Brussels, who, you know, Davos EU Center. City of London, basically their official political wing, says British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has unveiled a $15 billion increase in military spending, sending a long-delayed investment plan what is expected to be one of his final acts in office. As Colby writes, WEF clown Starmer is burning through billions of pounds of British taxpayers' money on his way out, trying to cement the war against Russia in stone. Again, they need to keep this going. It's one of their only hopes left because Trump is unwinding all of it. He's pulling the threads that's unwinding City of London. Their control, their tentacles are being cut off. Iran, a big part of this. How refreshing would it be if public understood this conflict with Russia has deep, long-standing roots, not something that suddenly emerged in the Donbass a few years ago? Absolutely. Russia is one of the sovereigns that World Economic Forum, Davos crowd needed to take down in order to progress and get what they wanted, take over the full amount. They can't do it. They hate Russia for this. They hate Putin for it. At its core, this is arguably one of the largest operations ever undertaken to get I don't think that he wrote that right. To get Russian resources and energy. Regime change, however, will not happen. Russia's a civilization. Absolutely right. But this is panic mode, guys. They're doubling down on Russia because they're losing all their other areas. And just an example, I told you guys this the other day because many people are blackpilling and trying to push this psyop that we're heading into a technocracy. I heard Ian say it on Tim Pool's show the other night that, Trump has just ended up handing it over to the technocrats. He's been a disappointment. No, he hasn't. You understand this whole technocracy thing is a psyop perpetrated by those like Whitney Webb on the web to make us think that they're winning, that the deep state's winning. Trump's just a part of it. JD Vance is going to further it. That's what they want you to believe. But the absolute truth of what's actually happening is this is unwinding the technocracy that started coming into our country with Barack Obama. And here's some proof of it. In Europe, that is fully controlled by City of London, the technocracy already exists. As Luongo posts, this is the technocrat's wet dream. Endless paperwork and empowerment of the petty and incompetent bureaucrat. Terry Gilliam's Brazil is a documentary. Look at this post from this guy in Portugal explaining what it's like living in the EU right now under the technocracy. As someone who lives in Portugal, which already stops every single package you get from outside the EU with no exceptions for the last decade, I can tell you how it'll go when you get a package. If you receive a package from outside the EU, it goes missing for weeks. Then you get an email. They make you log into an unusable and outdated web portal, which breaks half the time and where you have to classify your shipment in one of 10,000 category codes. Depending on the category code, you pay a different tax rate, sometimes 5%, sometimes 60%. Then you pay the customs duty in an archaic way that'll also be broken half the time. And then you receive your package from outside the EU after months. Experiencing this for a few times, you realize you'll never ever try to order or receive anything from outside the EU because the ordeal is too painful and expensive. What do? They cut you off from the rest of the world. They make it impossible for you to experience innovation. He says, I get asked by a lot of people here from the US to test out new products, and it's just literally impossible for me to receive it for testing. I tried to classify it as samples for testing, but you need to go through a bureaucratic process of insane lengths to get that through, so I gave up. Realistically, and here it is, all this does is make Europeans live even more in the Stone Ages, as they can't use modern AI nor get modern products from outside the EU because it'll be too much hassle to order. That's the bureaucratic wet dream, is that they make things so difficult. They'll say, oh, we're not taking away your freedom. We're just making it safer. But then they give you red tape and red tape and red tape to jump through hoops. And they make it tougher and tougher and tougher for you to experience anything out of what they approve. And then they charge you for it, of course, as well. That is the technocratic state, the modern communism that they subvert. They get in without being overtly communist. That's what they wanted to bring here in America. That's what the Democrats support. Why? Because they are controlled by the City of London system. That's what they want. This is the technocracy. It exists already. The EU is living it. That's what they were bringing here. That's what Trump is stopping. They are living in the Great Reset in the EU. That was supposed to be finished by 2030 and brought here, that Trump stopped. And I'm sorry, but for every moron out there who thinks Trump is giving it over to the technocrats, that thinks JD Vance is one of them, going to bring it here, going to advance it, I'm sorry. You don't have to like Vance, but you're retarded if you think they're bringing the technocracy here in the MAGA movement. It's not happening. But they want you to believe it is because they want you to get rid of the people actually getting rid of it. It already exists, folks. Obama started this, bringing it here. Clinton was going to finish it. Biden tried to bring it back after Trump stopped it in the first term. Kamala was going to bring it all the way through. Didn't happen. We were already in the beginning of the technocracy. That's all being wiped away. And it makes you think, makes you wonder, why is Trump cozying up to a lot of these people in the AI's field, the Elon Musk, the Mark Andreessens? He's not cozying up to Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg's on a leash. He's not cozying up to Google, to Anthropic. Those guys are on leashes. You can tell by how he deals with them. But the Elon Musks of the world, the Mark Andreessens of the world, David Sachs of the world, the tech guys who are MAGA, the tech guys who are working with Trump, you see, they want you to think those guys are technocrats. They're not. They're patriots who just happen to be in the tech sector. There is a difference. Not everybody who works in tech is a technocrat. Not everybody who works in tech is a communist. These are facts. Elon helped set us free. There's no debating that whatsoever. Has JD Vance had ties to Palantir? Sure. Is there any evidence whatsoever that he's controlled by them? None. And you're retarded if you think there is. There's no evidence. I've done the deep dives. I've done way more work on it than everybody else because I looked for it. I tried to find it. It's not there. Everything is guilt by association with Vance. Is it possible evidence comes out someday? Sure. But it hasn't come out yet. And until it does, everybody who says it's a sure thing is stupid. They're buying the nonsense, the Whitney Webb psyop. And I'm sorry, but I can't trust Whitney Webb for anything because she's been wrong about it all. She's been deathly wrong about Trump. And all these other people in that sphere calling this out, this whole technocracy thing with Trump, has been dead wrong. Ryan Dawson's one of them. I used to like Ryan Dawson. But it's not there. The evidence isn't there. The evidence is the opposite because they're already living it in Europe, guys. So explain it to me when Trump is making us deregulated, when this is being undone. How does any of that lead to the technocracy they're talking about? There's a lot of psyops going on around the tech world right now. And a lot of it, I'm sorry, and we're going to break this down more going forward. A lot of it is a psyop to get us not to do the things that will make our country better. And that includes psyops about AI, psyops about data centers. Some of it's true, some of it's not. They don't want you to live a better life. They want you to stay in the Stone Age, just like Europe is stuck in right now. Now, Vance had this wonderful thing to say to our troops yesterday, and this is why, guys, we're just never going to lose unless we give in. Listen to this.
Part of the reason why we in our political leadership are able to do what we do is because the world over, bad guys and good guys, friends and foes, allies and enemies are afraid of you. They know that if we ask, you guys will go and make the impossible possible. They know that when we demand that a bad guy does something, if they say no, you are the ones who are going to enforce that demand. And that is an amazing thing, and it's why we have the great nation that we have today. Part of the...
Do you hear what Vance just said? This is important. Part of the reason why we in the political leadership, he means him and the Trump administration, are able to do what we're doing because everyone's afraid of you. You understand, there's soft power. Soft power is the intelligence agency. Soft power is the City of London system. That's what they've been operating under. This is why they were demilitarizing us. Yeah, when Trump came in his first term, Obama had obliterated our military to the point where we were running out of ammo. Trump rebuilt it. They were trying to crush our military. Think of all the tech we've seen with our military that we've never seen before. How easy it was to go through Venezuela. How we just eliminated Iran's military with barely a casualty. And we did it in a few weeks. Unbelievable stuff. Stuff we were told wasn't possible. You see, soft power is fine until it meets hard power. And our military, what Trump's done with our military has set them up to where nobody can compete with us. We found out, thanks to the operations of Venezuela and Iran, that China's military capabilities are decades behind ours. And they're the greatest rival to us. Nobody else is even close. Our military is so powerful, nobody can beat us. No one. They don't have any hope to beat us. The only way we lose is by losing from within. That's it. And I continually tell you guys, if we keep our foot on the gas, we can't lose. We cannot lose. And this is very important for that. Now, the reason we were losing, though, or at least it looked like we were losing, is because of managed decline. They were forcing us to decline on purpose and telling us that the world was catching up to us. It was all a psyop. America is actually so far ahead. They put the brakes on us on purpose. And one of the great examples of this is now our new Air Force One, which guess what? Our old one was shockingly old. Being that this is the most important aircraft in our nation, that's a wild thought. But here's Trump on it.
So this will be the first flight of what I think is maybe the greatest commercial plane ever built. I said to Boeing, what's the best one? They said, this is the best plane ever built. And you're going to have the privilege of flying it, and I have a privilege also of flying it. But this is the first flight. We're going to the Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library opening, and that'll be very good. That'll be a lot of fun. But I think, you know, to be honest with you, I'm excited about the first flight. It's something nobody's ever seen anything like it. Even you people with all your experience and all of your talents, you will never see anything like this. So they just completed it. They made it appropriate for a president. That means the security and all of the different bells and whistles they put on. Very complex stuff, but it's really quite something. And this is a plane that the United States of America should have. Our Air Force One was 35, 36 years old, and it would be parked next to the new ones like this.
Our Air Force One was 36 years old. Built in 1990. The most important craft in our entire government that protects our president was 36 years old. Tell me, how is there an excuse to that? This is wild. I'm telling you guys, our decline was all a lie. It was all on purpose. None of it was real. None of it. Here's an excellent example of celebrating and bringing beauty back to our nation, which this Trump administration is finally doing, to tell us where we can go.
We know that history isn't just shaped by those people whose names appear in marble or bronze. It's shaped by the millions of people who may only be remembered by God for their courage and actions that helped change the world, and that's still true today. President Trump, and he saw the condition that Washington, D.C. was in, he asked a simple question. If we're the greatest nation on earth, why wouldn't we have the most beautiful capital? Why wouldn't we have the safest capital? And what a transformation the city has seen. So as we celebrate our 250th anniversary in the safe and beautiful capital, President Trump is showing a nation where we can have a renewed faith in our collective future. I hope that those that visit this plaza will leave here with that inspiration for the future, believing what those patriots believe, believing that America is always worth building, worth serving, worth sacrificing for.
I know I harp on this a lot, but listen, it's important to understand that believing in our nation starts with beauty. It starts with excellence and innovation. That's something Trump's bringing back. He's not getting enough credit for, because this is what inspires people. Replacing Air Force One is just proof that we were purposely being held back. Keeping our nation's capital ugly and crime-ridden was purposeful to make us think our country was going backwards. Everything Trump is doing is for generational change. Everything. All the justice that's happening, all the exposure that's happening behind the scenes that nobody's talking about. This is actually a part of it. A part of justice is bringing back to the people the nation they deserve. That's happening right now as we speak on this 250th anniversary. It's amazing. Guys, we are not as weak as they told you we were. We are not as far back. The rest of the world has not caught up to us. And all it took was somebody to show us. It's like living homeless when you're a millionaire. That's what Trump's showing us. We don't have to live here. We don't have to live like this. And think about this. He's unleashing our military. He's unleashing the beauty, the technology, and the economy. That's he's about to unleash too. He's trying. He's working. He's setting a new foundation. And as beautiful as all this is, the differences we're seeing, the same thing's about to happen in our economy. It's just taking a little bit longer. But don't worry. I have no doubt it's going to happen at all. He's bringing it all back. And if we don't stop, if we don't give up, we win. We have no idea what's ahead of us. Just like we had no idea how strong our military was. Just like we had no idea how out of date our Air Force One was, how managed the decline was of Washington, D.C. We didn't have any idea until Trump came along. Well, the same thing is with everything else If we keep going, we win. And I wanted to share this. I saw this today. Here's a quote from Clarence Thomas during his crazy nomination process. Listen to what he had to say, and then remember, use it for yourself.
I'd rather die than withdraw. If they're gonna kill me, they're gonna kill me.
So you'd still like to serve on the Supreme Court?
I'd rather die than withdraw from the process. Not for the purpose of serving on the Supreme Court, but for the purpose of not being driven out of this process. I would not be scared. I don't like bullies. I've never run from bullies. I never cry uncle, and I'm not going to cry uncle today, whether I want to be on the Supreme Court or not. I'd rather...
That is how we win, folks. That's how we win. So don't come in here, don't black pill, don't doom. Don't tell me we're losing. No. What I want to hear is I would rather die than lose my nation. I would rather die than give my country to a worse future. I would rather die than give in to communism. That's what I want to hear. I'd rather die than not fight for my kids' future. That's the attitude. That's what President Trump's doing. That's what Clarence Thomas did to become the greatest Supreme Court justice in history. That's how we do it, folks. If you black pill, you're weak and pathetic and you're not helping anything. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe you're black pilling right now because of Supreme Court cases. That's emotion, friend. You get to choose if you're going to stay there. So process it, get over it, and start getting ready to fight again. Because if you stay there, you're weak. You stay there, you're pathetic. You stay there, you're a coward. Everybody who black pills is a coward who stays there. It's one thing to fight it for a few hours. It's another thing to choose to stay there. Black pilling's for the weak. No one who wins black pills. Libertarians, at least in Dave Smith types, cowards. Faggot types, Podcastistan, cowards. Weak and pathetic. We don't black pill here, folks. We fight to win or we die. That's all that we do. And that's why we're going to win, because the people in charge, that's exactly how they feel about it. And we are going to win. We have a beautiful, bright, amazing future ahead that's unlike anything we've ever known. As long as we keep our foot on the gas, we don't lose. All right. Hit that like and subscribe, guys. I'm very appreciative of you all. Hit that like, subscribe. If you want to support the channel, you can always send a super chat or join. And we got more to go. I'm not done yet. Speaking of that economy, we got some big wins coming with the economy. And of course, we have a grifter report. You guys don't want to miss it. Candace and Sean Ryan hugging, being buddies. Katie Cat with the $10 super chat says, Perform to Serve was a program in the early 2010s that kicked out sailors by limiting the number that could reenlist. Many great sailors were kicked out, weakening our Navy by kicking experience. There you go. Exactly. An Obama program to weaken our military. Thank you for sharing that, Katie, and thank you for the super chat. That's exactly what happened. I saw somebody write while I was doing my segment that Whitney Webb might have been wrong about Trump, but she was right about Epstein. Well, I'll tell you what. Nobody would listen to these PSYOP types, these assets, if they were wrong about everything. You would ignore them. No, they give you breadcrumbs. They give you a little bit here and there to build trust. And then what they do is they rug pull you with lies. But you're already in the system. This is what Alex Jones does. This is what Whitney Webb does. Ryan Dawson does. All these people who are in the know, they give you a bunch of good information. You're like, oh my God, they were right. They were right. They were right. Wow, wow, wow. And then they throw out absolute lies to you to keep you in black pill mode, to keep you hopeless forever, because they offer no solutions and they want you stuck. That's what Whitney Webb does. And so, yeah, she's right about a lot. That doesn't matter. What she's wrong about is the tell. That's the tell. All right, let me keep looking through here. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody who tagged me in anything, and keep up with you guys. Great crowd today. Thank you guys for watching. Bear Meadows on Rumble says they claim authority when they have none. That's very true. Absolutely. He's 100% right on that. Let's see. We have Miss DJ Liberty on Rumble with a $5 super chat. Says the way Trump is targeting the NWO financial system reminds me of the verse, "The love of money is the root of all evil." Love your positive presentation of the news. Thank you. I really appreciate DJT Liberty for the $5. You did misquote the verse a little bit. I just want to be honest about that. It's actually the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil. It's not all evil. And that's very important because some people use that verse to mean that it's bad to want to be wealthy and successful. It's not. It's bad to serve money over God. It's bad to let greed run your life. That was the warning Jesus gave. But being wealthy is not evil. If it was, and he wouldn't have made Abraham wealthy, he wouldn't have made Solomon the wealthiest man of all time. God made many of his followers wealthy. And so that would have been God being evil or wrong if he made people wealthy, if it was always a sin. So I just want to clear that up. It's the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil, not all evil. So just being very clear on that. It's one of the most misquoted verses in the Bible. Diane with a $10 super chat says 10 for your July 4th trip. Look forward to hearing about it. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much, Diane. Thank you so much. You guys have been so generous. DJ says, is it fair to say a portion of people who voted for Trump didn't realize they voted for dismantling the deep state? Oh, many people didn't know that. Many people had no idea. Yeah. They were just voting for, most people don't pay attention enough to know that. Eric says, Purdy should spike the ball in Democrat's face. That would make me very happy. Purdy, by the way, my quarterback, is very MAGA. Just like Nick Bosa, who got fined for wearing a MAGA hat. We're a very MAGA team despite being in San Francisco. All right, I'm not seeing too many tags. I'm sorry, guys. There was a lot of chat on that last segment, so I'm not going to be able to get to everybody. I just can't find everything directed towards me. So apologize for that if I missed you. If I did, please try tagging me and sending it again. So I want to make sure I answer as many people as I can. Okay, but while we're waiting, people vote for Trump for thug of life memes. That's funny. I love it. You guys are hilarious. All right, let's talk about the economy. Okay, with everything Trump is accomplishing, and it's a lot. It's so much more than people are covering. One of the biggest things is the change in the economic system. You wonder why some of Trump's changes or some of the things people voted for haven't happened yet. Well, it's because Trump isn't just trying to give us all, payouts, give us all stimulus checks to make our lives easier. He's actually reshaping the entire economic system so that we have a better future than any American has experienced in the last 100+ years. None of us have experienced the system he's building, which is taking us back to the original American system, which we have not seen since before 1913. That takes time, friends, but when it happens, it's going to be unlike anything we've ever experienced before. And Kevin Warsh, the new Fed chair, is a big part of that. Here's Kevin Warsh this morning at a Q&A he did, a group Q&A.
Chairman Warsh, how do you interpret the recent data points on the labor side of your mandate?
So when we met 2 weeks ago, I think the way we as a committee described the labor side of the mandate is we said labor markets are steady. We said the demand side of the economy was solid. And we said the supply side of the economy, especially CapEx and productivity, again, this is before we see the fruits of AI, we said that was strong. I don't want to sound like a Wall Street newsletter and update that with recent events because we follow trends. And I'll reinforce something that President Lagarde just said. We're all in the price stability business. That might not be our only business, but if there was a common thing I heard over the last couple of days, it was open-mindedness on these questions of AI, open-mindedness on productivity. But we've all looked around and we've seen that prices are too high. And I don't think I'm the only one on this stage that's recommitted to deliver price stability.
So the market was right to interpret your first news conference as hawkish.
Nice try.
Yeah, I'm not. I've just gotten advice from the senior statesman on this group not to do that. But I'll say this: expectations of inflation over the first 4 months, first 4 weeks of this period, they've come down. Inflation risks have come down. Again, in our business, we don't want to overdetermine things. But if there were people in household or the business sector and the financial markets who thought that this central bank was going to be comfortable with an inflation objective above 2%, well, I guess they'd be disappointed. We're going to deliver price stability in the U.S. That's what this committee has signed up to do. And our objective is to do that. The tactics, the strategy, and the rest, that's still to come.
No matter what.
So Warsh is telling us what's actually going on in the economy, okay? And by the way, it feels really good. So it's the first time in my lifetime to have somebody in charge of the Fed who is not a Keynesian, who is not a globalist economist. It's the first time. Greenspan, Bernanke, Yellen, Powell, all globalists. Now, Powell did a couple good things, like getting us off the London exchange, but for our dollars, got us from LIBOR to SOFR, which Tom Luongo does an excellent breakdown of. He did do that. And he also, by raising rates, kind of stabilized all of that a little bit, our monetary policy a little bit. But he still was Keynesian, and he still was a big central bank globalist type. Warsh is not. And Warsh understands the American system versus the central bank Keynesian globalist system, this financial system. He understands it. He understands what real inflation is, which is the devaluing of the dollar, not price increases. He understands this, and this is wonderful that he's in charge, but it's all part of this new system. He's said a lot of things that is shocking people. I know a lot of that was Fed speak that you just said right there, but he's communicating that it's a new day and we're going to be doing things differently. Warsh, this is one thing that's crushing Wall Street right now. Warsh declines to offer guidance on interest rates. And Zero Hedge says, you mean it wasn't kidding when he said it was over? Oh, I'm sorry. I got this off here. Says he wasn't kidding when he said forward guidance is over? No, he's not. He's not giving the market what to expect anymore. Why? Because we are no longer going to be a financial economy. You see, they transitioned us onto that. They started getting us there decades ago. Obama completed the transition after 2008. He used that. Remember the famous words of Rahm Emanuel, never let a good crisis go to waste. Well, they didn't. They used the financial crisis to get us into a financial economy where we are dictated by spending, debt, and the markets are our real economy. The people suffer because Main Street no longer mattered. Main Street no longer led the economy. The stock market stopped being a reflection of the economy and became the leader. This allowed for untold amounts of manipulation and fraud and corruption. This is what Trump is undoing. But he's undoing much more than that. He's undoing it all the way back to 1913 when the Fed became instituted and the income tax became instituted. That's going to take a lot of time because the only way to get rid of the income tax and the Fed is also to have Congress fully on board. Good luck with that right now. But could that happen in 4 years, 6 years, 10 years? Yes, if we get on the trend of that. And Kevin Warsh is a big part of it. But in the meantime, you can change policy to get us much closer to that. And that's what we're starting to do. By declining to offer guidance, he's saying, I'm no longer letting Wall Street set the pace and I'm no longer going to tell them how to do it. That's a big deal. Now, Warsh also said that growth looks like it's trending up while inflation looks like it's going down. What does that mean? Well, that's the exact opposite of Keynesian economics. Keynesian economics teaches you that growth has to be slowed because growth creates inflation. But that's not true. The 1800s proved to us that growth and innovation create deflation because all goods and food deflated over those years. Yes, assets could go up like property, things that were controlled by the market, by the laws of supply and demand, those could go up in price. That's a good thing. That's real markets. But this idea that everything has to keep going in price just because of growth, that's not true. In fact, innovation should always create lower prices. A better way to grow food, lower prices. A better way to make a TV, lower prices. All of that should lead to lower prices. That's not the world we've been living in, because they sold us a lie that 2% inflation is healthy. It's not. Gold should not be $70,000 an ounce someday, guys, if we lived in a real economy. Gold should be $300 forever if we lived in a real economy, but it's not. Inflation has changed all that because it's changed the value of the dollar. That didn't happen in the 1800s when we had a real system, when we had the Hamiltonian system. Warsh is working on that, but he's teaching us something here. We can have growth trending up while also inflation going down. And look at this. Peter St. Ong, the economist, says, markets are now expecting something we haven't seen in a long time, falling prices. What? Yeah, the CPI expectations starting to go way down. People can see it. It all starts with energy and real assets. Now, J.D. Vance kind of lets the cat out of the bag here, telling us exactly what we're doing. And by the way, this is going to make the Promethean action ladies and people like me look really smart. Just saying.
I mean, even things like when the president said a few weeks ago that, he absolutely wanted to like seize the equity of the AI companies. And,
you're not supposed to say
right.
that.
And it's like, guys, he's the president and he sets the agenda and he just said it. And by the way, nobody really even protested.
Yeah.
So like, the president has already, and obviously I'm biased, I'm his vice president, but the president has already like completely reoriented the conversation towards what you might call an American developmentalist approach. Like American economic policy on the right is now much more Alexander Hamilton than it is Milton Friedman.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? Did you hear it? Let's play it again. He just let the cat out of the bag.
Approach like American economic policy on the right is now much more Alexander Hamilton than it is Milton Friedman.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously a good thing. You might disagree, but that's just a normative statement. That
Libertarians and Austrian economists just went heads exploding. Do you understand this is why they're not worried about the debt? I'm not saying they're not worried about it at all. They're not worried about it as in we have to panic and stop all spending so we can pay down the debt in 5 years. They're not worried about that because they understand you can grow out of the debt. They understand that we have way more assets than we have debt. They get it because they understand the real system we were built on, where we're headed. All the economic lies we've lived under, guys, are about to be demolished. Everything we learned about economics growing up and our economy growing up was all built on the Keynesian economy that we have built since 1913. Everything we were told about this economy is about to be undone. And this is why it's going to take a while. But once it does, which is already happening, we're starting to see the signs. Once it fully gets into place, though, we're going to have a full-on production Main Street economy that stock markets just reflect. That's how it should be. That's how it was. That's where we're headed. And it will be amazing for people who produce, people who work hard, people who have ideas, people who start businesses, people who contribute something to society. That's what we're headed for, folks. Yeah, the American dream is coming back, baby. It's coming back. That's where we're headed. And JD just broke it down precisely what they're doing, which is exactly what Promethean Action has been teaching us, exactly what I've been saying, Tom Luongo. It's amazing. We get called crazy, but the truth is JD Vance just literally said the exact words of what we've been
Notice,
saying.
though, what you've just said, because for the people who say that betraying some nostalgic retconning of a caricature of the 1980s, that to change that in any way would be abandoning American history and the tradition. You say, well, hold on, I just went from Milton Friedman to Hamilton, and to some degree George Washington.
Right, 200 years backwards in history, actually. That's very much a foundation of American developmental economics and economic policy. And I do think, you know, I don't want to say you can go back to the future or, you know, forward to the past, but I do think fundamentally that Hamiltonian tradition is going to be what we see on the American right and will dominate American conservative economic thinking for the future.
Yeah.
Which is not laissez-faire. It's actually much more about, you know, building the kind of tools, building the kind of infrastructure that allow human beings to flourish, that allow national and native industries to flourish at the expense of a hyper-globalized economy. And I think those are the basic principles that are going to carry us into the future. But
did you hear what he said? Allowing our national stuff to flourish at the expense of a hyper-globalized. That's where we're going. So much better than what we've experienced. This economy, the Keynesian economy, was always designed to hurt the little man, to wipe them out. It was designed for only the people with money to make more money. And that's why the wealth gap has grown significantly for decades, except for during Trump's first term. When Trump started implementing these policies and the wealth gap actually shrunk for the first time in decades. This is where we're headed, folks. We're headed to a real economy. We're headed back to the economy instituted in 1781 all the way through 1913 that created the greatest, most prosperous nation in history in just 120 years. Do you understand how amazing that is? 130 years. In 130 years, we went from a fledgling nation of what's the word I'm looking for? Of colonies that were barely united to being the most prosperous, amazing nation in world history where people were flourishing in 130 years. That's because that's the greatest economy ever built. It's the greatest economic system ever built. And we undid it. And we've been going backwards ever since, a little bit at a time. Our economy was still so strong that we still progressed. We still held on to a lot of that wealth. We still lead the world. That's how strong that system is. You can't get rid of it overnight. But we were getting worse. Trump's undoing that. We're going back. It's going to get stronger and stronger again, folks. And that's because we're going back to the thing that built us in the first place. This is amazing stuff. Amazing.
But to me, it's fundamentally about the dignity of the human person. The economy is a tool to service the dignity of the human person. If a set of economic policies make it easier for a person to raise a family, to earn a living wage, to give back to their community, to maybe go to church on Sunday, or to actually spend some leisure time building the kind of life that matters, like that is the sort of thing that we want to be supportive of. Now, obviously, to do those things, you do need economic development. Yeah. But if you turn economic development into a sort of idol, then you end up sacrificing a lot of the things that matter most. And I do think that, you know, for our friends who are sort of on the more laissez-faire side of the American right, in hindsight, part of why Milton Friedman's ideas made more sense in the 1980s is because they were being advocated in a country that still had a very rich and powerful institutional Christianity.
That's a powerful statement right there as well. Vance is talking about the importance of culture and how that also is a big part of our economy, making our economy fair and good. And culture and Christianity is a big part of that. Just going back, I believe it was James Madison who said, our republic is wholly inadequate for anything other than a moral and religious people. So in other words, our country was never built to last unless we were moral and religious, and they meant Christian. So listen, guys, they understand how to get us back, and we're heading in that direction. And look at this. Fed Chair Warsh today said, we are only in the first or second inning of the revolution. That tells you all you need to know. He doesn't say first or second inning of a new economy, of a better economy. He says revolution. We see a boom in capital expenditures, and it's not looking inflationary. What? But they told me it had to be. Nope. They're fundamentally changing our economy, guys. So once it changes, once we're fully in it, good things are going to happen. We're in the transition right now. It's going to be slow for some people. It's not going to turn around instantaneously. It's going to take a little time, but the transition is already starting to pick up. We're starting to see it in manufacturing. We're starting to see it in job hirings. We're starting to see it in investment. It's happening. Once it fully flips, we're going to be in a much better place than we've ever been in our lifetimes. And that's something to get really excited about. And it'll be one of the most amazing accomplishments of everything Trump's pulling off. And he's got the perfect team to do it. All right, guys, hit that like and subscribe. We are going to Grifter Report next. I know a lot of you have been waiting for it. Some people's favorite part. Please refresh. Everybody refresh if you lost sound. Refresh. Click the refresh button. Sorry, a lot of people seem to have lost sound. That sucks. I hate that. I hate when that happens. Sometimes YouTube gets weird. I don't know why. Maybe I do. Maybe they're trying to get rid of me. But oh man. All right. Let's get into make sure I'm not missing anybody here. I thought I saw a couple people tag me. So Kinfolk J says, how do I think a Vance Gill ticket would do in 28? First of all, Gill's too young. He's not going to be chosen to run. He needs a little more time to ripen. But it'll be Vance or Rubio, or it'll be like Rubio, DeSantis, something like that. And it's going to kill. I think they'll win by more than Trump won in 24. Yep. D34 says, I'm not saying it, other people are saying it, but they're saying I'm really smart. Okay. Threads of Harris says, a Texas congressman told Benny we could refuse to print birth certificates for anchor babies and debunk illegals at the state level with this work. It's possible. I think it'd be hard to get not printing birth certificates done, but who knows? Who knows? That's interesting. DJ says, imagine if Trump gave all Americans 1776 tariffs checks for July 4th. I mean, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, because of what the Supreme Court ruled, the tariffs revenue is not as strong as it was. So they're not ready to do that, but it could happen maybe by next year. Jay says, what member of the cabinet would I like to see more from? Someone who's been a bit quiet that could signal something bigger behind the scenes. That's tough because I feel like all the cabinet members who are crushing it that I like the most have been pretty loud. RFK, Scott Bessent, Rubio. And so I don't feel like there's any like sleepers that I'm waiting on. I really don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have a good answer for that, Jay. I just don't. I want to see more from Bessent all the time. I want to see more from Rubio. I want to see more from RFK. And Hegseth is great. So yeah, I don't have a good answer to that. I'm sorry. Bobby Girl says, $5 super chat. Thank you, Bobby. Says, I was amazed at the amount of money given to states for disaster relief. What are your thoughts on it? I think it's good. I have no problem with it, honestly. It seems like a lot, right? But when you put it all together, it's a couple $2 billion, which is a lot to me and you. It's not a lot to the federal government. I think it's good that Trump does that. I think he's showing that, the federal government is going to help. You're talking about disaster relief. Yeah. That's what we're here for. The government should be doing stuff like that. Disaster relief is a thing the government should do. Military is a thing the government should do. Not all the other nonsense. So I don't have any issues with that. I really don't. All right. Anything else? YouTube screwing with the hype button. YouTube hates my channel. But thankfully, because of Trump being in office, they don't censor anymore. So that's good. All right, you guys ready? This will be the last segment for today, but we got to do a grifter report because Candace Owens went on Sean Ryan, and it is just as insane as you think. Grifters be grifting, folks. Grifters be grifting. So this morning we finally got released the Candace Owens interview with Sean Ryan. Many have been waiting for. This is, I mean, it's as ridiculous as you think it's going to be. Sean Ryan continues to make himself look more and more ridiculous as he platforms these people, as he says insane things, as he rides along the grifter narratives. It's always the Jews. I can't even do that yet because my voice is still not fully back. But of course he has Candace on. And Candace, not to disappoint, goes full-fledged Candacing in this. But here's Sean Ryan's preview, just to let you guys know what to expect.
Candace Owens, you're a political commentator, author, and independent journalist known for challenging mainstream narratives and tackling controversial issues. Over the past decade, you've become one of the most influential voices in all of media, building a massive audience through your commentary and investigative reporting.
And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband.
Today, through your independent platform, you continue to cover politics, culture, and current events while questioning official narratives and sparking national debate.
I always try to approach things with just, what do I observe with my own eyes?
This is so ridiculous.
And when I brought myself to being able to watch the footage of Charlie dying, the first thing I thought was that he was shot from below. I watched the friction of his body, and I saw that his necklace broke before.
Individual or independent journalist. What a way to present Candace Owens. That is hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. But again, it's about as good as you think it'd be. Look at Sean Ryan. By the way, people like The Quartering are calling it out, which I'm very proud of. It says Candace Owens is a retard and Sean Ryan just sat there like a clown and let her talk. He destroyed his credibility. Oh, you think so? Here's Candace talking to Sean, a little clip, and watch Sean's face.
I mean, I don't know. Do you give CPR to somebody who's been shot in the fucking neck?
Well,
I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Give CPR to somebody who's been shot in the neck. I mean, how stupid is this woman? That's so funny.
I mean, I don't know. Do you give CPR to somebody who's been shot in the fucking neck?
Well, if you don't keep someone's heart going, it doesn't matter, right? Like nothing else matters if your heart stops pumping. So yeah, you would give CPR. I would imagine you keep CPR going at all times. I'm certainly not a medical professional, but I do know that like if your heart stops, you're dead. So you got to keep the heart going. And them not having the ambulance on standby.
I'm not standing up for him. I don't know if you would do CPR.
No, you wouldn't, you retard. Doing CPR, you'd be pushing more of the blood out. Oh my God. This is supposed to be the woman who's leading the deep dive investigation on Charlie Kirk's death. She's supposed to have all the idea of what you do. And she doesn't know the basics, like giving CPR to somebody who's bleeding out is a horrible idea. Oh my God. Honestly, who still listens to Candace? Please don't be honest. Just pretend you don't and lie about it and stop watching her, because I don't want to call you a retard to your face, but I will if you admit it. I will if you admit it, because that's ridiculous. Oh man, but you know, that might be the funniest part. But she, you know, she doesn't disappoint with some of her other crazy stuff either.
We got played. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's kind of shocking the ways that he lied. And so you have to then go, why? Trump desperately, by any means necessary, wanted to win again. And his entire life's mission then transformed into, I will do anything to win again, including making a deal with the devil. You don't take $300 million from people who run Vegas and tell them no.
Trump made a deal with the devil? She's talking about Miriam Adelson and all these people that Trump's controlled. But the problem is this, that he took the most money from Elon Musk and then just 7 months later, took away all of Elon's government subsidies to help his company. Yeah, he took away all the energy credits that were going to Teslas, $8,000 government credit for a new Tesla. Gone. Trump wiped it off. No more Elon. I'm sorry. That crushed billions of dollars, took billions of dollars away from Elon Musk's Tesla company. And that's after Elon gave him $250 million. So tell me again, Candace, how taking this money from Trump was a deal with the devil. You can't say no to them. Are you serious? See, everybody who thinks Candace Owens does actual research and actual put stuff together, they ignore the retarded conclusions she comes to. They ignore the fact that this woman has no idea what she's talking about. CPR to a person bleeding out. Are you kidding me right now? Again, and the facts back up that Trump is not beholden to these people. But again, what if facts matter? But here's more her breaking down stuff about Charlie.
What they're doing is going to register to the public as remarkably suspicious. Case in point, did no one tell you that you shouldn't be on a Zoom call laughing about emojis 6 days after your husband got killed? Does someone have to tell you that? What has been rinsed out of you that you don't recognize that there's something deeply wrong with that? To get onto a Zoom call 11 days after he's been assassinated and say, we're moving on with Turning Point 2.0. My husband is dead, not to be morbid, but he's dead. That's acceptance.
Do you think that she had something to do with it? She was complicit? Or we were talking about this earlier. I came here from Boca Raton, Florida. It's the shallowest fucking place on the planet. You see 19-year-old girls with 76-year-old men every single day playing tonsil hockey and more, and that's just what that place is. Do you think that maybe when they met, she was, she just saw a paycheck, and she's a narcissist and had no feelings, no love, no nothing for him, just wanted to marry into a guy who's making $150 million a year?
Even if everything you just said was true, she was motivated by money to marry him, she didn't actually love him. Let's even add that she hated him secretly, right? When someone dies like that, you still have a human reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's so disgusting. I mean, the whole attack on Erica is so disgustingly pathetic and gross. It just makes me so sick. And she just doesn't stop. Candace is just a terrible person. I can tell you, as somebody who lost my parents in a horrific car accident that just happened like that, just gone, horrific. I can tell you, grief does not always look like you fall apart. Sometimes grief looks like silence. Sometimes grief looks like you put on a brave face. There's literally, as somebody who knows grief very well, lost my parents, lost my brother, somebody knows grief very well, very intimate with grief. I can tell you that I didn't see one thing wrong with any of Erica's grief, any of her grieving, any of the way she showed herself. I didn't see one thing with it. Not one. And I know grief. I know grief better than the majority of people my age. I know it. I've experienced it. I've experienced horrific grief, horrific accidents, loved ones dying, horrific ways. Sorry, I just have. And there's nothing wrong with how Erica reacted. Not one thing. You know how I know that? Because as somebody who was in the church at that time, who was a leader in the church, who did public speaking, I reacted very similarly to how Erica reacted in public. Very similarly. I held it together. I built people up. I forgave. I did the exact same things Erica did. And on the inside, I was broken up. So I'm sorry. The whole nonsense narrative about Erica Kirk, if you believe it, you're retarded. You're an idiot. You absolutely are stupid, because everybody deals with grief differently. I dealt with it very much like Erica did in public. So I know that as a person who lived it. So nobody can tell me I'm wrong on this. Nobody. And if you're going to argue with me, you're retarded. You're wrong. I lived it. I did it. So I'm sorry. If you believe Candace's narrative on Erica, you're sick. You're absolutely sick. Okay? You just are. You want to believe it. I'm going to tell you, that's what it is. You want to believe it. And you're sick for that. You just want to believe something terrible about Erica. And someday we might actually get some evidence that Erica did something wrong. But right now you haven't. And so in the meantime, you just want to believe it, which means you're retarded. Sorry, it's true. Here's more, though, from this amazing clip.
Who do you think is behind this?
I don't
Do you think
Tyler Robinson was there.
You don't think he was there?
No. I think he's a total patsy. I think they get lookalikes and they got everybody wearing the same outfit. I think he played a role, and I believe that what he did was he picked up clothes and he dumped them behind the Dairy Queen. I think he had a role.
Who do you think is behind this?
I don't
Do you think
Tyler Robinson was there.
You don't think he was there?
No.
Are you kidding me? Like, we have tape. This woman is insane. She's insane. And it's going right. I mean, it just keeps going worse and worse. Here's Candace reacting to, yeah, we'll just watch. We're just watching it. It's bad enough.
It was so strange. I was in Italy getting confirmed by a cardinal, and that I was so excited about it. And it was just, it's weird because it's the president of the United States. And it's something that maybe you would expect to see if you're in high school and people are trying to like find ways to hurt you. But, you know, when the president of the United States is like, you're fat, you're ugly, you know, that it just feels weird. It was just very strange.
Well, it is weird.
It's weird. Objectively, I thought it was very strange. And I don't have...
Did he forget he started a war?
Yeah, I know.
Isn't that a little more important than fucking generating AI Time magazine cover photos?
How'd that have anything to do with him calling her fat? You can see Candace is very upset over the fact that Trump doesn't take her seriously, that he laughs her off. It's very funny.
And
about podcasters.
And beyond that, just kind of basically saying you're ugly is just, there's something so elementary about it. I'm just not in high school. That's not something that I wake up every day and wonder, does the president of the United States think I'm hot or not? There's something about it like that's just like...
This is the same person who has no problem telling Erica Kirk that she's grieving wrong. So it's not exactly like she's the kind of person that can, you know, have a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a classy way of approaching things, I'm saying. But, you know, whatever. This is who she is. And Sean Ryan for going along with this. I mean, what a joke. But again, how many times have I told you guys and shown you guys that all these people, they just keep hanging out with each other, right? It's like, oh, you're a grifter, you're a grifter, you're a grifter. We're all saying the same stuff. We're all just going to hang out together. And they just do. They just take turns on each other's shows. It's insane. It's insane. But it shows you how obvious the grift is. It tells you that there's all the same people behind them. Every single one of these people has intelligence agency connections. Every single one. Sean Ryan was one of them. Candace Owens' husband is connected to MI6. Tucker Carlson's connected to CIA. Alex Jones connected to CIA. Then you get people like Ian Carroll who just show up out of nowhere. You can't find anything on their social media at all. Even though he's in his 30s. You can't find anything on his past. That's weird. All of them. Nick Fuentes. Very likely the SPLC is the one who paid him money for the Charlottesville to organize that. These people, man, they all have the craziest ties. The craziest ties. It's all weird, but they all just hang out together. And they all somehow are multi-millionaires with millions of followers. Millions of bot farms. They're all connected somehow to Alexander Dugin. How's that work? I don't know. It's wild. But then they get on, do stuff like this. I gotta tell you, sometimes even in their grifter world, they're so stupid that they can't believe it. The CPR thing is my favorite. That's absolutely hilarious. But the whole TPUSA thing, how could you trust anything Candace says about it, even if you have questions about TPUSA? I'll tell you what, Andrew Wilson, he decided to do something about it. He joined TPUSA as a liaison and said, hey, come talk to me about it. We'll find out your answers. Guess what? None of them are talking to him. Well, that's weird. He's having a great time exposing it by actually doing the work, by actually putting himself out there. But as he posts, how come none of the TPUSA killed Charlie Kirk people will talk to me? I said. That's what you tell. That's all you need to know, right? That's all you need to know. Again, he's, Andrew's exposing it. He's exposing the grift. We just keep saying, you don't even have to like Andrew Wilson, but isn't it kind of weird that none of these people will come out and have a conversation with them? No, they all just talk to each other. Now, speaking of Tucker, this just came out. Somebody exposed this, and this is really wild. Look at this. The 2008 Republican National Convention. This is when McCain was just nominated. I can't believe I hadn't seen this before. I didn't know this before. But it kind of gives you clues to where Tucker's come from. What have we been showing you guys a lot of lately? How libertarianism, especially those at the top, I'm not talking about your neighbor with the don't tread on me flag, who's a nice guy and just wants the Fed gone and says he's a libertarian. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about the libertarians actually in places of power and influence. How we've been learning Thomas Massey, Dave Smith, Rand Paul are all total frauds. And all they do is operate as controlled opposition, slow things down, go against President Trump, the guy who's actually getting stuff done. That's what they do. We've learned this now, right? And now Tucker is acting like one of them. Well, after you see this clip, it makes a whole lot more sense.
Of Ron Paul, whom I respect, which is something it's true. That's something you won't catch me saying very often about people who run for elective office. And let me explain why I respect Ron Paul and how I came to respect Ron Paul. I voted for Ron Paul in 1988 when I was in college. And I voted for Ron Paul for a bunch of different reasons. One, I had grown up in a libertarian family. And two, he just seemed like a decent guy. But I was...
What did we just
Ron
see?
Paul,
Tucker Carlson, turns out he was one of them the whole time. Part of that whole libertarian grift going back to 1988. Wow. That tells us a whole lot. I wish I'd known this before I liked Tucker for a couple years there. I wish I'd known. Had no idea. But it just shows you these are all the same people. All the same people still making life difficult for Trump, or trying to anyways. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Touting Ron Paul, now attacking Trump from the same libertarian talking points. By the way, libertarian as an ism can be traced back to City of London. Just go look it up. Fabian Society, whoop-de-doo, MI6. Yeah, there's a lot of connections there going back there to the early 1900s. Very interesting. Very interesting. Oh, yeah, speaking of these guys, here's Thomas Massey. Oh, it's now been almost a year since he said he'd release 20 names of Epstein clients. Here's the original post. Transparency is essential. Americans have a right to know if their taxpayer dollars settled congressional sexual misconduct. I introduced, this isn't the right one, but it is. He actually just got this passed, so I'll give Massey credit on that. But the original post, which I don't know why this guy put the wrong post up, Massey claimed he had 20 names he was going to release. And it's now been 288 days since that time. Just a reminder that nothing he said was going to happen from the Epstein stuff happened. Good reminder. And then we look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, the whole grifter sphere, what she's doing now. Well, turns out Marjorie has no influence whatsoever. I thought this was, this was the person saying, we're leading the America First movement. People are leaving Trump by droves. This is the real movement. Well, her new show, Life MTG, has 7,200 views combined in her episodes. 4,500 here. 2,700 there. Wow. Marjorie, why can't you get more views than I get? You're certainly more famous. I'm not leading a movement like you are. I don't even have the money to pay for bots like you do. Are you kidding me? You can't keep up? What's going on here? So crazy. But, again, why do I show all you guys this? Why do we laugh at Candace's stupidity? Why do we, look at Tucker Carlson, where he came from, and Marjorie Taylor, how crazy she's getting, or Sean Ryan, what a shill he is, a grifter, trying to pretend he's a serious person. Why do we do this? Why do I do this grifter report? Well, it's just because of going back to Rush Limbaugh. It's because when you say you're part of the movement, when you actually care, when you believe you're doing like what's right for the country, and Trump was a big part of that, and you fought for Trump, you don't just leave that just because you didn't get one thing you wanted. You just don't. And Rush breaks it down so perfectly back then. And I want to just, share this to go out just to as a reminder, like Rush taught us, and he says right here, how you know the true believers are. And this is exactly what they're not doing. Listen to Rush.
Because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Because And
there it is. See, we don't just follow Trump because we like him. We don't just follow Trump because he's, it's fun to see the establishment burn. We follow Trump. We're loyal to him because he is what we wanted. He's representing the change we've cried out for. He's given us a shot at getting the America we want. And that's why it makes no sense for all these people who bailed on him. Tucker, Megan, Candace, Sean Ryan, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dave Smith, Thomas Massey. Makes no sense because he is the shot we had. And this is why they can't break MAGA. Rush got it from the beginning. That's why we miss Rush so much. We've lost some of the best people who understood it, who would lead, whether it's Rush or Charlie Kirk or Scott Adams. Who is that next person? I don't know. We need them. But the amazing thing is that even without these great leaders, Trump has still managed to keep us together despite it, because Rush knew exactly what was going on. He got it from the beginning because Rush was the OG MAGA. And that's why these grifters, they can't beat us. They can't knock us back. And it's also why I'm going to continue to call them out, because for the few that they might pick off, we're going to keep presenting the alternative and showing how ridiculous they truly are, because we're MAGA. We're the real America first, and they never will be. And that's what Rush understood. And that's what Trump has proven and MAGA's proven going forward. All right, guys, if you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys so much. I made somebody big mad earlier, and it just made me laugh. Somebody was really mad that I said that Erica's being critical of Erica's grief was nonsense. So I'm just going to go ahead and block them because they were stupid anyways. They said, "Oh, unsubscribe." I said, "Okay, well, you don't have to be here anymore ever again." How's that? Oh man, these people. I'm telling you, once you've gone psyoped, once you've let it come into you, you just become an idiot. It's really sad. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss anybody's super chats or tags before we go today. It's a nice long show today. Man, 3 days in a row I've gone over 3 hours. Holy smokes. I thank you guys for sticking with me. Let's see here. Let's see. Michelle says, look up George Webb investigator as receipts on both. On who? I'm sorry, who are we talking about? Sean Ryan? Is that what you're talking about? Is that the only person who tagged me? DJ says, hot take, I do agree with Candace it's higher than Tyler Robinson. Oh, I agree with that too. I think if you think listen, there's a difference between saying Tyler Robinson didn't do it versus did Tyler Robinson act alone. Do I think he acted alone? No. Do I think he did it? Yes. There you go. Oh, I'll be back Monday. Jay, oh, by the way, guys, yeah, before we leave today, I will be on tomorrow, okay? I'll be on tomorrow, but at 10 a.m. Eastern. That's 7 o'clock Pacific. So I know those you guys on the Pacific Coast can just watch the replay. But I will be on at 10 a.m. tomorrow, okay? So I will be live tomorrow. Friday I won't be, but I will have a video that will stream at noon on my regular time. I'm putting together some for you guys for July 4th, okay? So you still have content from me this weekend. It won't be as much, but and then the regular live stream will be back in time for Monday, okay? Hope that helps. A learning experience, Ryan? What's the learning experience? Sorry. I didn't know what what were you saying, Ryan? I missed it. Deuterino says, that's a great point. They think we got the idea from Trump. No, Trump's just doing the thing. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Oh, anybody else miss Rush? I miss Rush so much. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate that. I do. Nick Carter, how can I attack libertarianism and then acknowledge Peter Thiel, that paragraph? Dude, I'm not interested in the whole Peter Thiel thing. I'm just not. I don't think it's as big an issue as people make it out to be. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, sure. Peter Thiel's not out there doing podcasts like this with millions of people watching him. That's why I call him out. Oh, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that, man. DJ, what if the left and right are both correct? Deep State's collaboration, Jewish and Muslim elites with the goal to dismantle Christianity. I can't go there. Sorry. The whole like Jewish and Muslim elites thing, it's not Jewish and Muslim elites. It is a deep state system, City of London system that has existed well before the Jews and the Muslims became elites to take over. They orchestrate and control certain Jewish and Muslim elites who do their thing and are part of it. But those guys are controlled by the greater system. It's not the other way around, you know? And the problem is whenever you make it just about a religion or a race, you fall into their trap. That's what they want you to believe. That's what they want you to fall into. Art Bell was something else, huh? He was something else. Yeah, Sean Ryan's a total douche. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I got to get going because I actually have a lot I got to get done before tomorrow's live and before I leave tomorrow. So listen, I just want to say thank you to everybody again. You guys are so incredibly generous. You guys have done so much put towards my trip this weekend with my kids. Thank you for that, guys. Every single person who gave, every single person who supports this channel, every single person who likes and subscribes. Thank you. You guys are the absolute best. I love you all, and I appreciate you all. You guys, it's an honor to get to be a part of this, and it's humbling to know what I've built so far and that there's people like you guys supporting me. So thank you so much, and let's end in a prayer today. And then I'll see you guys at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. All right. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. God bless everybody here today. And Lord, I just pray a special blessing over all those who gave just from my own heart, because I'm touched by their generosity and I'm so appreciative of them. Thank you for that, Lord. And thank you for everybody who supports the channel, whether it's just by liking and subscribing, everybody who watches, everybody who is a member, Lord. Thank you for them. And bless them, Lord, in Jesus' name. And we pray a blessing over our president and his team. Bless them, protect them, give them wisdom, Lord, in every situation. Help us, Lord, to build our country better. I pray that this economic system is successful. They get us back to where we used to be. I pray that this dismantling of any deep state, any cabal, any corruption in our nation is undone in Jesus' name. And I just pray, God, more peace, justice, exposure, all that, Lord, happens in Jesus' name in our nation. We can leave a better country to our kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids than we ever got to experience. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.
line, screaming like a siren at night. Red and blue shouting, nobody's right. Smoke in the streets, truth under attack. Everybody's loud, nobody's got facts. Feeds keep scrolling, nerves stay tight. Matchsticks